ask you if you sure you want to start the stream?
I'm sure I wanted to start this.
But why does it ask you?
Oh, because I have my settings to do that, so I don't accidentally go live.
That's fair.
On the
I
off
should
chance,
probably do that.
on the off chance that I hit start virtual camera, or I hit start stream instead of start virtual camera, when I'm in a therapy session, because the last thing I want to do is broadcast my therapy sessions.
That's fair.
Whoopsies!
That would fit.
So that's why I do that. Plus, I just don't ever want to accidentally go live and, like, I don't know, have somebody watch me, like, eat a pizza or something. And that's why it does that. Oh yeah, now I remember why I usually wait. It's fine. Got an ad break coming up. That's fine.
I've already seen this bit.
Yeah. We'll watch it again though, just cause.
Who are you?
What is this? Who are
And
you?
also,
Already online.
I'm Saga
Horrible.
Anderson, FBI.
can't believe you've done this.
I can hear
Ruined
you.
everything.
Cauldron Lake.
Yes, I'm at Cauldron Lake. Where are you?
Not to escape.
See,
In
See all the Alan.
Your presence.
Bonus Allens.
oh yeah, I changed her outfit.
Danger.
This is fine.
Thanks. Got it.
We got the Oh Dear Diner sweater now.
Vanity in this town.
Hey,
Just really like them. I don't understand why, because they're terrors and menaces.
I mean, I think they shoot them.
are you okay?
Whether they agree.
It got out with my face. Scratch.
Sir, calm down.
Is this what happened in
I'm gonna need you to take a
American
breath.
Nightmare? It's Mr. Stretch is in there.
Is it?
He's the bad Alan.
Easy now. First things first.
Maybe
He's
American
American
Nightmare
Nightmare.
was just a bad dream, actually.
I'm a
Yeah,
writer.
hopefully.
I've been
Wake? Where did you
I
come
really
from?
hope so. It
You've
was
been
not
missing for 13
good.
years.
So wildly bad.
13.
It's so weird because it does so many there's so many problems with it that just aren't problems in the original game.
Yeah.
Anderson, where did you go? All of a sudden, the
Where'd we
radio
go?
stopped working, and then that flooding just disappeared. Crazy forest.
Crazy Forest.
Is this who I think it is?
Casey, say hello to Alan Wake. Mr. Wake, this is Special Agent Alex Casey. He'll escort you to our car. Casey, I'll meet you there, right after I take a look around. If the flooding's receded, there might be evidence we missed earlier.
Okay. See you there.
Alex Casey.
Oh.
How? Am I still? Is this the dark place? No, it can't be. I got out.
That's really cool.
I liked it.
Yeah, the PI from your books has the same name as me. Great. Moving on.
Y'all gonna talk more?
It's a bit of a hike to the car, Wake. Get your bearings, then we'll head out.
I need another minute.
Should look around.
Cauldron Lake.
With the flooding gone, could be further clues out there.
Saga, I'm trying to listen to them.
The flooding disappeared very
Saga, shut the
suddenly.
fuck up.
I wonder if there's any connection to the overlap.
Holy shit.
To Nightingale.
It's getting dark.
Are you done?
You have a flashlight? It's not safe without light.
I have light.
A light. And
Sure.
a gun. You can relax, Wake.
And pages. If you
Burn the
see
decks.
pages of writing anywhere, you must take them and keep them safe. Our lives could depend on it. They have vital information.
We know about the pages, Wake. We'll keep an eye out for
I just
them.
want to know everything that they're gonna say,
Okay, just give me a moment.
That's rapid firing them off.
Okay.
right?
Take your time.
Are we good?
I like your funny little shout.
very funny. Alright, I think they're done. Where are we? Oh,
Oh, dang.
I didn't get here before.
How do we get back?
Good question. I think we go up this way.
Guess the tree's in the middle of the path the other way, right?
Yeah. I think we go that way. Although I would be curious to go back through if we can.
Yeah, they might say something cool and find out they can't go back. Or maybe you can go back.
Go under. Perfect. What is that? That's a deer. Can I pet it?
Does it go in the tower?
No, I don't think it does.
I mean, the other deers on the tally weren't alive either.
They were mounted on a wall, though. Maybe the missing factor here is wall.
Maybe they were alive and they're standing very still on the other side of the wall.
Just putting their head through a hole.
Yeah.
We'll take out the flashlight. Oh, it's not really made any difference this time, huh?
Don't really do it unless it's like full death.
Yeah. Maybe. I see that cache. I see that cache right there.
Ooh.
Thought you could hide that from me.
A locked box. Is that the cult of
Arcade!
the tree symbol on
Hi,
it?
Arcade. I'm sorry you can't get into the headspace to do anything. Sad. You got this, though. Yeah. Oh, that was like
Notes and
super
ammo.
easy.
Looks like they're tools of the trade.
Ooh.
The cult doesn't see their victims as people.
Remember, they look like us, but they aren't. They're like animals, and it's our job to hunt them and gut them. I mean, it sounds like the cult might not actually be that bad.
Yeah, they might actually not be humans is the thing.
Yeah, as I'm thinking about it. Maybe it looks brutal and horrible and like they're killing innocent people, but maybe they're not? It is orange here. Oh boy! Sure is orange. It's just... I am still kind of just, like, floored at how pretty this is. And this is with, like, mid to low settings. Pretty game.
It's good direction as well as being like top quality graphics if you turn it all the way up.
Yeah.
It's just lovely woods.
I'd like to go hiking here, maybe. What's this? Is this the way they want me to go? 'Cause I don't want to go this way if that's the case.
The rider went into the lake, banished the dark presence. Taken still lurked in the woods. The dark place receded. The current pulled back those with darkness inside, into the lake. Nightingale was there, one of them. The dark presence, Jagger had taken him. The witch had stolen his heart. They sank beneath the waves. The dark place, wandering in the shadows.
Alan, you're so
muttering to
bad at
themselves.
this.
It's dark. I'm lost. Where am I?
But if Alan
Where
can
am I?
make a living
Can't
being a
remember.
writer,
It's cold.
so can you.
Premium cabins for rent in Bright Falls.
That's true.
Who said that?
I mean, I can't write as much
Can you
as
hear me?
Alan, but I could probably write
need help.
better than Alan.
Mm-hmm.
Please. Stop this. What did I do? You must
I mean, that's probably
get it
Alan's
out.
secret, right? It's just like
Their shape
firing out
shifted.
book after book after
Echoes
book.
of the writer's dreams.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fading in, fading out. The next story and the story after that. The writer was writing again.
Okay. Alright, buddy. Let's get out of here. Oh, we can go through.
Oh, that's weird. Couldn't before.
Definitely could not before. All of this got real long. I mean, it's short now compared to
Yeah.
what it was before. Oh, can we not get through now? Is it all blocked?
I think the boss area like goes forever. Like procedurally generates more of it.
Probably.
I've
It-
said it.
No, it was really cool. I really like.
Like full lost with a teleporting man chasing you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we know what's over here. We've been here, is
Yeah.
the thing. And it's not that I'm scared, it's just that we know what's there.
Already explored there. It's already filled in on the map.
Whoa!
Huh.
Give me that. Also, we're doing okay on things. More batteries would be lovely. Hand flare!
Nice. Yeah, doing really well on shotgun shells right now.
Yeah. No, it's true, Arcade. It's not that I'm scared. I'm just too cool. I'm so cool, I don't need to go back. Listen. We got this handled.
I'm too relaxed. If I go there, I'll fall asleep.
What can I say? This game, I guess, is just, like, really boring, maybe, actually. That's not true. What's that? They are really hiding these, huh?
Yeah. In dirt.
That's the one that I just picked up?
The reality-changing influence of the dark place flowed like
You know
water
what?
flowed.
We can
Like
listen
fear
to all
flowed
these later.
Down the
How
path
do I
of
leave?
least resistance.
This
A
is
road.
how I leave. I can only listen to Alan's bad writing for so long, before I start getting mad.
All over the floor of the post office and limestone.
We love hate Alan here, but I just can't. They're still just standing here. Alan, how long do you need?
Sharing a moment watching this beautiful sunset or sunrise? Sun something.
I think it's a sunset.
Orange event.
Alex seems to be the only one really paying attention to it.
They're gazing longingly into each other's eyes.
He can do better. Alex, that is.
Alex is a bit more together, I think.
Alright. Up we go. Oh.
Cat climber?
Oh.
Rock too gross. Cat climber.
Saga, you could do that. You're strong. Okay, I guess we do have to go that way. Fuck.
Get there from the other side.
Yeah.
Probably. As long as they let you go there.
That's the trick, isn't it? Guess I probably should have checked that little ledge before running all the way up there, just to run all the way back. But I mean,
It's
we got
Kind of manuscript page.
yeah.
They're flyer, I think.
I think so. We'll see. Yeah. All right. That does limit my desire to find everything on screen, though. We'll still look for stuff, but if we don't find every manuscript page, that's okay.
That's just saving us some psychic damage.
It's true.
We miss a page here or there.
The game just looks really quiet right now. What's going on?
It's gonna be loud again when they're chasing you.
Yeah, which is why we'll only turn it up a little bit. Oh, hi?
Dog?
That was a fuzzy dog.
Fuzzy dog?
In that he had like weird darkness fuzzy on him.
Why is this hurt? He's making a lot of sounds. Is he meant to be dodging this? Because he is dodging, but he's not dodging out of the way.
Oh, that's a problem.
It's a bit of an issue.
Oh, no! Saga, we're gonna fucking die! Why did you stop? Why did you stop? Why are you stopping? Okay, you know what? Maybe we just leave.
Yeah.
Oh god. Please, dog. Can you hurry a little bit?
We
Maybe?
could do this any slower.
Oh my god.
You're not
The
supposed
cult
to
is
make any
leaving
sudden
supplies around for
movements.
themselves.
Oh, now is not the time. Now is not the time.
Did the dog?
Fuck off!
Don't think the dog went.
Where did he come from?
Where are you?
That seems to have hurt him?
Blood came out.
Come here.
Don't know the extent to it. Oh,
Even the animals are turning into monsters.
Okay.
that was in fact hurting him.
Wish I knew if the flashlight was necessary for any of that, because I did waste quite a bit of flashlight on
I
it.
think he was dodging that. Well, he was doing like a funny little dodge move, and he wasn't making the normal like this man is being hurt by your flashlight noises.
Yeah, but
He wasn't dodging out of the way of the beam, which made it difficult to tell if he
he was making noises like it was hurting him.
was it.
Yeah.
He was just making funny noises.
Okay, I've done it. Give me this. Colt is watching right now. That's nice. They can watch me steal their shit. What do you think of that, Colt?
What are you gonna do about Colt?
You ain't got shit on me, Colt. What is it? Painkillers. Did I miss him? Okay, it's probably because, you know, we were getting attacked and I was trying to do that very quickly.
I'm getting attacked right now by a shadow creature.
Just wanted to know which of the creatures it was.
The shadow creature.
Oh, propane tank.
Ooh.
Explodes when shot. Can I like move
It
things
looks like
around?
a booze.
Yeah, I thought it was like a bottle of whiskey or something.
Don't drink that.
Please do not drink it. This will hurt you a lot. Okay, we should go this way to get out of here.
Just stay out of the wires, but
But what if we go up here, actually?
let's try. I'm fairly certain the game will say no. And the lady will be like, I have to go the other way.
But I want to go here.
Play himself up.
People, you've gotten so rude.
Arcade, we're in the same place today.
Hi, Fruity and I
I'm in
exist in
Kaysh's
the
room.
same place. It's a whole thing.
I'm here with the Kaysh from Kaysh.com.
Whoa! Whoa, indeed! What do we got? Today's catch! A yellow perch and a mid-sized pike almost caught a lake trout, but it gave me the slip. Saw an out-of-towner walking around in the woods just before sunrise. Had binoculars or a telescope or something. Taking notes. Didn't notice me. Good. Don't need the attention. Today's catch, just an old rubber boot. Some of the regular creepies roaming around again. Avoided them as usual. No one notices a quiet old fisherman. Not even the fish. One day we'll get the arcade Kaysh meetup going.
Kaysh.
Art Kaysh. Oh no. What a name. Why are all my friends so tiny?
Why are all your friends very small?
I don't know.
Here.
You only know small people, like except for Sylvie, obviously.
Well,
Who's long.
Sylvie's long.
Nursery rhymes I read to Logan when she was little.
BB's asleep. Welcome in, Travis.
Travis.
What is this? 1 bird for light, 2 for darkness, 3 birds for a fight, 4 for a struggle, 5 birds for injury, 6 for misery, 7 for the ending, whatever it may be. What?
Oh, jeez. Do you want us to look up?
I have to put things. Do you want a heart? I have a heart. You want a heart?
What's the rhyme again, sir?
Birds. 1 bird for light, 2 for darkness, 3 birds for a fight, 4 for a struggle, 5 birds for injury, 6 for misery, 7 for the ending, whatever it may be.
That's weird.
There's no mention of a house, or waves, or a boat.
We're gonna need 28 birds and then come back here.
My God. Maybe we'll figure it out.
We could get a nursery rhymes thing for the evidence board.
Great.
It's like the magpie rhyme, but not quite.
Who brought this out here? Also, can I have this?
A
What's
little
this?
clothespin doll.
That's a crow doll.
Perfect weird souvenir for Logan.
Why would you give your child that?
Oh.
I saw somebody walking around over there. Can I put that on the sun? Because it says 1 for light? What is happening?
Something feels different. I should look
Okay.
around. A charm. Cute.
Oh.
It'll go great on the bracelet Logan made for me.
Hammer charm, enemy stagger, or attack stagger enemies more often. Yes,
That was
please.
strange.
That's good.
Gotta keep an eye out for more of these rhymes.
Okay. What? Excuse me? Oh, hi.
Couple of them.
Do I have to get rid of darkness? Yes. The answer is yes.
Yeah, he didn't even do shit.
Sir?
What?
It's hard to tell when they're... Okay. Now? Kind of?
Maybe one more?
There we go.
Holy
Sir?
shit. That guy's tough.
Pain pills. Did your friend drop anything? Sorry, I thought I heard somebody else chattering in the background.
Probably Diva.
Evo, how could you do this to me? Alright. That's not the button that I want. It's weird having my inventory on control. I'll get used to it, but it's just, I'm just putting it out there right now that it's weird. Oh, so yeah, Alan's real pretty now. I mean, the first game, I think, is still pretty.
Alan's an FBI lady now. With a tiny shotgun.
Tiniest shotgun. Can I pick that back up? Do I... Okay. Can I do anything else here? Or can I just have that?
Free crow doll.
Got ourselves a crow doll. Perfect. This is my location. Go this way. Can I have a pistol again? I'd rather not waste all my shotgun ammo. We're doing great on ammo for right now, but like, I'll blow through it real fast and not notice. And that would suck.
I got a little free heal from the light.
Yeah, but...
Somewhat healthy.
No? No? No. Okay. Gotta find a key.
Key. Give me that
Give
key.
me that key. What's up here? Can I climb that? Are we allowed to climb this? We're allowed to climb this. If Saga can see over it, she's allowed to climb. We understand. Well, this seems like a great place to get attacked. Is that a big flashlight? It's weirdly lit up. read it? There we go.
Yeah.
An overlap with the dark place needed a push from both directions to manifest itself. Reality in our world eroded by repeated
God.
dark lore tied to a location. And a counterpoint, a work of art, horror narrative, crafted in the depths of the dark place, connecting to the story on the other side. To reach out through the weakened veil. Story of a lawman whose heart was cut out of his chest. 2 corrupt men killed by their own twisted ambition. A haunted old woman drowned in a bathtub. Twisted reflections on the other side of the mirror. Okay, what does this culminate in? Elements working in conjunction made a trickle that became a torrent, a wormhole, a vortex. And the art, the map, became the nightmare territory where the dark place encroached on our reality. This told me nothing, Alan.
A lot of long run-on sentences.
Either long run-on sentences or sentences that are too short and can't really be constituted as sentences.
Yeah, Gatmarengi does both of those things.
Hello?
Another one of those rhymes.
What? Oh.
We do have Gatmarengi book here. I could get one of those out and pretend I'm reading the manuscript pages.
That is true. The hero brave and strong left home to right a wrong. From the woods came the wolf so greedy and hungry that he ate what he found in the house without a host. The hero returned to find she'd lost the thing she loved the most. Arcade, I think you can draw this good, is the thing. Left home to right a wrong.
Bring crayons, Arcade, when you visit Kate. We'll teach you.
Child? Daughter?
That's probably chalk, actually.
Candy for child? No.
This could be something in the house. Oh.
Chick for baby? Okay, we'll just leave that there for right now. What we got going on here? What's that? Just toys. Don't worry about it. Hello?
Send them off.
You're
Oh.
handsome, dear.
This is fine. We don't need to see anything. Would you like to take your flashlight back out? Thank you. Give me more batteries. Thank you. What does it say? North American folklore. Those are more control files.
Did you just leave those around?
Feels incorrect.
Yeah. I understand why there's like control files lying around in the like science bunker thing, but you know.
Oh.
I guess when you read that, it's like the Federal Bureau of Control that doesn't like. Oh, that's pretty sinister. People should be paying attention to that.
Right. Okay. Just stuff. Oh, okay. That's cool. Tip of the day. When nature calls on a hike, check the direction of the wind before answering. Observations. Hikers have broken off branches of some of the trees down by the lake to make an illegal fire. Tried to fix some of the damage, douse the area, maybe put up more instructional signs. I also found some tracks I couldn't recognize. Pretty big. A wolverine? Or footprints that were smeared. Either way, they were wandering around in strange patterns. Might be a sick animal. We'll need to keep an eye out.
We did find a folly animal.
Yeah, he wasn't doing great.
Oh no, bottom of the deck.
Oh boy. Oh, I wonder if this is like continuation of the one from outside. I don't know. The sun as she sleeps knows not the woes of men who toss and turn and worry and fret and wish they had her blissful slumber. Picked up a bunch of trash left by tourists. Despite posted guidance, humans are the worst. Thought of the day. Every majestic pine was once just a wee acorn. A lot of new growth in the area. Some of the saplings I planted earlier are really thriving. It must be all this rain. I don't mind it either. Great sounds to sleep to. It's amazing what a good night's rest and a warm cup of tea can do. Do you think it's the trees? There is a little tree icon out there by the little puzzle that we're doing.
Can I get down there?
Bathroom.
Wait.
Oh, Devo.
Oh, Devo.
What's this? Oh, more control stuff.
Oh.
Objective: research into the reality-altering effects discovered in the Cauldron Lake area, utilizing fiction and art as a source, and then manifesting the results into existence. Methodology: the FBC's intent in this research project is to experiment with nursery rhymes, hereinafter referred to as fiction, in an attempt to recreate the conditions under which the writing could become reality. Hypothesis is that there are two ways in which fiction affects reality. Either reflecting events that have come to pass but are not known to their later creator, whose act of creation therefore becomes a catalyst for these past events, after which they serve as the source of their own inspiration, or by the fiction itself being the initiating force in its present timeline, using the creator as a conduit. In the experiment, we will create nursery rhyme texts with a specific function, and then use depicted dolls and symbols as needed via careful testing process with the purpose of the story told in the fiction manifesting itself in a real life. A variety of combinations involving dolls, symbols, and rhymes will be tested in order to collect large amounts of data with the hope that a pattern will appear. Methods will be adjusted in the testing based on our results. Okay, well, that tree's coming through the house. We already kind of figured that out. We did that the once. Is there a thing in here that I can have? Can I have any of these? No, absolutely not.
Oh, that's the thing from in the house.
Wolf doll. What's that?
Oh.
Hero doll.
Okay, we got a few now.
Oh, God. Location and arrangements. Witchfinder Station, we need 2 of them. Streamside, 1. We did that one. Cauldron Lake Rental Cabins, 1. Okay. Great. Wonderful. Oh! What's all that? Because I'm stepping on these?
Oh, will you turn up all the pip?
Also, maybe.
Or
Oh, they all have something different on them. Okay. Like, but that has a boat. But that one has, like, a fish and an eye. That's a sun.
that's just up. So.
Yeah.
Oh. So that's starting to just scurry around.
Yeah.
It was a little strange.
Oh, those doors are coming off.
Is this a poltergeist or is this a slightly possessed physics engine?
Right. What's happening here? What's going on? Well, let's take this. Give me that. And from the woods comes the wool. Here, return to find lost the thing she loved the most.
Doesn't make
Thing I love
sense.
the most.
Does she love candy the most? Does she love eyeballs?
That's not right.
Does she love both?
The sea, of course.
Oh,
I
is it
have a
because like
weird
she's returned
feeling
home,
something's
left and returned?
changed.
I don't understand. It's fine. Hey, those are footprints.
What is this?
There's gonna be a horrible thing in there. And I think I'm just gonna get this back out real fast.
Okay then.
The wolf has returned. I see.
I'm scared. Wolf? You here?
Oh, is that the darkness gunk?
Another charm for my bracelet.
Like darkness gunk?
Yeah, don't really test it out. We have very limited battery in this one, but
Let's just not be in here anymore, I think. I don't have the code for the computer, which is why we're ignoring it. But I think it's on our map. Should be on our map. It's not on our map. I can't put anything. That's a shame. Not manuscript. Baseboard, please.
Figured all this out already. So this goes here, and that goes there.
Oh, does she just do it for you automatically if you've already done the things?
Nightingale goes missing for 13 years.
That's kind of
Shows up
nice.
murdered,
Yeah.
And then turns into a monster. After I stop Nightingale, a rider who's also been missing for 13 years turns up. What's the connection? What kind of
Well,
case
you
is
know that
this?
Nightingale was chasing Alan Wake, because Alex told you.
Right? Saga, please.
So, you know, there's a connection right there.
Oh, we're on the ground again. Okay. That's gonna be out at Cauldron Lake. That's also at Cauldron Lake. Great. Nursery rhymes.
Creepy dolls, mysterious rhymes. No weirder than anything else going on, I guess.
I guess.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow, okay. Huh. That's a strange
That's
doll.
it.
That's another strange doll. We really have to do this for every doll we come across?
Only the strange ones.
Oh, fair. Cauldron Lake, right? What are these? Who made them? Well, the FBC made them. You know?
They did leave a lot of paperwork behind with their name on it.
They've not been particularly, like, you know, quiet about this being their thing.
They don't seem to
look right.
really give a shit.
Yeah, which feels like it kind of defeats the purpose. But what do I know? I never finished Control.
They're not like, good at the jobs.
Obviously.
Except Arthur.
What do I know?
I don't know what Arthur's job is, but he's perfect at it.
We love Ozzy so much.
So good.
Lake rhymes? Oh, okay. I understand. I've just done this bad. Is the thing. Okay. What do I knows? Arcade, what do you knows? Manuscripts? Other things?
Ah, can't forget the dolls.
Oh,
Might need them again.
do we need to take them?
I wouldn't have thought so, but she mentioned, so
Okay, well, I'm glad I took the other one then.
she'd have probably mentioned. Yeah, I picked that one back.
Yeah. Do I still don't really have enough to upgrade anything, right? Because it takes like 16?
It was loads.
What is this? Oh, for the sawed off. Okay. 12 and 18.
Again and again, more bullets. Another headshot.
Oh, and because we've touched a deer, we've just got a
8 remaining.
wonderful. Perfect. I think we're doing
already at 8.
yeah. We're doing pretty good on those.
We've reached the car.
Yeah, it's at
Anderson.
like
How's it
11,
going down
right?
there?
I
12.
think I'm done here.
Yeah.
I'll meet you at the park.
Something around there. The cabins as well? Screwdriver. Oh, I need a screwdriver.
Oh,
Okay. That helps,
it helps to know that it tells you what type of key you need on the map.
right? I would have, like, searched around for an actual key. Oh, there might be a lunchbox around here.
Another one of those lunch boxes.
Obviously, you're going to succeed, or else you wouldn't be the hero. Duh! Thanks, whoever.
Single price? You get so few.
I know, it's ridiculous.
Everything's so expensive.
Who do we think is leaving those notes? Think it's daughter?
I mean, Daughter's dead, but that doesn't necessarily rule her out.
Oh, it's Arcade. Arcade's claimed it.
You big Alex Casey fan, Arcade?
Known fact about Arcade Kitten.
Vintage Alex Casey lunchboxes.
Love Alex Casey. Beautiful. Ooh, what's this here? Private cabin. Is this where the last nursery rhyme is? Here, at least. Yeah. Oh no. Actually, game, I can hit space. Oh, I did it way too soon that time. Tragic. That's not too horrible.
Nah.
Or is this a break room?
There's a rhyme over here.
Rhyme and a break room.
Perfect. Weird floating stuff again. What do we got? A mother crow sits in her nest, guarding her babies, doing her best to protect her home from the beast coming to feast.
We have all of these things.
Only a hero brave of heart can keep the two apart. Okay, so that's hero. Mother crow. And
Home from the beast.
oh.
I was gonna.
Oh, put wolf there.
Yeah, I
then...
thought the wolf was at home. Sorry.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Let me just pick those up. What changed? Oh, I hear something out there. You know what? Before we do that,
Yeah.
we'll just come in here for a minute.
Some wine at the thermo.
Read these. Guests, Miriam and Matt, thanks for the lovely hike. Patty came down from New York City and loved every minute of the trip. Lori and Bob said these paths have seen better days. Kev thinks the views are nice. Mr. Lockhart, may I suggest adding some nice rest stops along the way? You're in nature, sir. Piss in the wind. Don't chop down trees, leave your trash behind, be loud and obnoxious, or start forest fires. Remember, always have fun. We read the start of this, which is why I skipped half of that. We got a new manuscript.
That manuscript, I didn't read that one. Do you?
Do it. Do it.
Yeah, I should read that one. It's too daft.
Fixing the lighting situation for this manuscript on screen.
Yes, it's a little weird. Hang on. I'm just picking a random page. Placed another pile of completed manuscripts in each corner of the kitchen floor, attempting to distribute the weight as evenly as possible. I had to walk into the ominous sound of crumbling cement and a sudden shifting of the bedroom floor, realizing, as I frantically scrubbed grains of interrupted sleep from my eyes, that if the giant tome we'd completed overnight remained in its current position for one moment longer, we might well be moving production to the lower floors.
Perfect. Delightful.
So he writes the book that's the size of a refrigerator.
Oh, whoa! Sorry, we have a lot? We have 17.
Oh, when it said we had 8, that didn't mean we'd got one more than we had before. It meant we'd got 8 at once.
Increase magazine size by 50% would not be horrible. 2 headshots in quick succession for a stun. Deals increased damage to enemies that are stunned, blinded, or knocked down. Increases loading speed. That would be lovely, but I think I can manage without it for right now. So let's do magazine
Saga
size.
had lost count of how many shots she'd fired.
Good, it's
But
still
she was
muted.
sure it must have been more than she had in her magazine. And yet, she'd not run out of ammo. As if the magazine had grown to fit more bullets.
Thanks, Al.
Fired again.
Please. Alright, that's fine. What's this?
Booze.
It's just Irish whiskey.
Whiskey's booze.
Whiskey's booze? You're right.
My first ever prank on Casey. A true classic.
That is?
John was trying to work that out when you watched him play.
Yeah, and I thought maybe if I could, like, look at it closer, I'd be able to figure it out, but I can't. I think he was right in that Saga put illicit drugs inside his salt shaker.
Classic, right?
Classic prank. Getting your coworker high. What a good joke. Let's just go ahead and do a quick save. Yes, I want to overwrite. I don't think I need to worry too much about, you know, soft locking myself, but we'll be a little cautious about it. I think we're good so far, though.
Casey got so high he thought he was in a video game and he could see the weapon statistics hanging in the air all around him. And time kept slowing down to show off his moves. There is a dog.
There it is. Screwdriver yet? Hello?
Probably worth shining the torch at least one.
Come here.
What are you doing, dog?
It doesn't know.
Bad dog or just stuffed?
It's a dead dog now.
This is deeply tragic.
There's another one? I'm sorry, the dog was coming at me. Y'all saw it?
Yeah, she's a cat person.
I'm not that kind of cat person, though.
Always carries a tiny shotgun.
Always, just in case I meet a bad dog on the road.
So I don't know a dog.
Okay, that's two that need a screwdriver. Where is other dog?
Doggy heaven?
He went to doggy heaven. Here? What's that?
Might be additional crowd.
Another charm.
Oh, that was
Thing logo
very
on
close.
this bracelet.
Book? Book?
Found the dog.
There it is. Come here. Okay. I don't think we need to... He got twisted up. Oh, God. Oh, God.
You didn't have? You shot him into 2 bits?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, boy. Okay, but we found the charm. So that's exciting. What did we get? Hand flares duration, area of effect.
We don't know how good hand flies are yet, but I'm sure that's fine.
Yeah. We got. Can I
Got a few of them. No.
quick slot that just
Use-
there? Yeah. Oh, you
I
know
felt
what?
like in the first game.
And quick slot these as well.
Nice.
Okay. Oh, also I can reload this.
Magazine. Wrong. Bit more bold.
It is longer.
Well, it's just an extended magazine, Alan.
No, you're not listening. It's actually just it's gotten bigger magically, but it's not extended. It's just like it's like she just didn't have to reload at all when she would normally have to.
Sounds like an extended magazine, Alan.
You're not listening to my words. The magazine, it was longer, but it wasn't. Extended in some magic fashion. Shooting more bullets. I can't think of any other bad sentences, because I'm not a shit writer, is the thing. I'm sorry, I can't. can't roleplay as a bad writer. I'm sorry. What's over
Get some inspiration.
here? Oh, where am I? Oh. What's this? Rocks.
Another Alex Casey lunchbox?
I looked down at the rippling water. The moonlight danced over each and every little wave. Sorry. A marching band of shimmering light, lonely and cold. I hugged myself inside. I thought of him. On the surface of the lake calmed down. Like a spectral surprise, he was there, his face smiling at me, reflected in the water. I looked up, not daring to believe it was true, but it was true. He was there, my love, my savior, my rider. Ew, is this from Alice's perspective?
Wait, Alice, get out of there.
Anyway, inspiration for bad writing? Oh, God. These fucking guys.
Go wrench. Oh, you can see all the way through him.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's cool. I like it. I like it. I like the enemies. They're real neat.
A little further.
Gonna run around the forest for a little bit longer. What a phone booth. Here?
Capello! Pointed at the vehicle. Capello turned and realized he'd left the passenger door wide open. Damn it, Nick, I'm sorry. He walked back and closed it. I owe you a battery. It's your car, so you owe yourself one. Of course. And the lights, Nick said. Capello reached in and switched those off too. Technically, Nick, those were your responsibility, as designated driver of the car. Except I'm not the registered owner, Capello, so any shortfall in battery capacity would ultimately affect your license. Damn it, Nick. I'm gonna blast your bloody balls off if you keep it up like this. Nick knew he was being cruel, but he had to keep Capello sane. Insults were all that stood between the fiery Italian and a one-way passport to insanity.
My God. What a book. Garth Marenghi, everyone. I mean, Alan Wake. Why are we stopping?
I can't leave here yet.
Why?
Lots of work left to do.
What do you mean?
That's a passage from Alan Wake's classic Bride of Bone.
Why won't you let me leave?
Well, let's go on.
Do I have to meet them back at the car? 'Cause, like, I can do that. It's just gonna take me forever to get there.
They must have been waiting a minute.
Been busy looking and doing other things.
In the Catamarangi stories, he gets like really sidetracked with stuff like the car battery. He also like it's like you can tell it's stream of consciousness. It's just he just like changes his mind mid-story about things and then just keeps going.
Well, this is how it is now. Don't worry about it. Oh! This is how we got in originally. Hello? Manuscript? No entry.
No entry for it.
No entry by order of the FBC.
Retro Bureau of Control.
I've got a chokehold on this place.
You don't think they just put the like logo and
Yeah.
name all over everything?
Yeah.
You ready to go?
I mean, I guess. I'm driving. It's a weird choice,
Mr.
but
Wade,
you know.
we're taking you back to our field office in Bright Falls. You can freshen up there. and then we'll talk properly.
Do I get to play as Alan now? Is that gonna happen? Is that the thing?
Hey, Mom. Before you say anything, I'm totally fine.
She's
Don't
definitely
freak out.
dead.
Dad shouldn't have even texted you.
Logan? No one texted me. What's going on?
I'm totally fine. I slipped, that's all. God, it's not the end of the world.
Put your father on the phone.
Okay. Dad, it's Mom.
Don't worry, hun. Logan slipped in the shower and bumped her head. She has a slight concussion, but I'm keeping an eye on her. Lucky I heard her fall. She could have drowned.
Jesus, David.
What if she had?
Why didn't you call?
I tried. It didn't go through. She's fine, really.
Did the lady in the
What about you?
dinosaur that she
You
drowned?
sound stressed.
Yeah.
Specifically, yeah.
Rose specifically said that she drowned in the lake.
Weird case, that's all.
Well, if you need a hint,
To be
my
fair, drowning
years
like
of board game victories
any
tell
method
me
of having
Colonel
died.
Mustard did it.
I'll keep an eye out for him.
It's a weird lake.
Love you, Dave.
It's a very strange lake.
Wanna say
Only
bye to
half for
Logan?
sure is that she's
Just tell her I
super
love her.
dead.
Oh, absolutely. There was a part of me that was like thinking that these like phone calls were like voicemail, like
Yeah.
voice messages that Logan had like left her, but there is too much back and forth between everyone for that to be the case. What is happening here?
Damn fine cup of cum.
Wait, screenshot that? I don't know how to screenshot shit with Epic. It's fine. It's just very funny to me. This is very Twin Peaks.
Is there anyone you'd like us to reach out to, Mr. Wake? You've been gone a long time.
No. No. They'd be in danger. It'll come for me.
Okay, let's talk
Get
about
the old
something
gods
else.
of Asgard on the phone.
Robert,
My
Nightingale.
boys! Do you think
You
they're
were
still
both here
alive?
in 2010.
They'd have to be, right?
I don't know,
They're
they
tough.
did take a lot of
Dark
drugs
Presence
in the
guy.
80s.
That's the last time I saw him.
Yeah, but like Keith Richards is still kicking around, and he is just like 95%
Tell us
drugs,
about the
right?
pages.
That's fine.
You have what looks like a title page with you. Return. Is this the name of the story on these pages? The writer's name has been scratched out pretty violently, but your name can still be made out underneath.
Scratched out. Yeah. Scratch.
Don't talk to me about Mr. Scratch.
Did you write these pages, Mr. Wake?
I'm trying to remember. It's a crazy jumble, like a nightmare.
Like an American Nightmare?
Oh no.
I'm sorry.
It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. Why did you have to play it 3 times, Alan? What the fuck?
I remember.
Do you? Do you, Alan? Listen, I'd rather watch or read American Psycho than have to sit through American Nightmare again. I didn't even play it. I just watched Fruity play it, and that was enough.
Thank you. Welcome. We have a great show for you here tonight. Alan Wake is here. Alan Wake, one of my all-time favorite writers and guests on the
You need
show.
better taste in writers, sir.
He's here to talk about his latest book. Oh,
My favorite writer, and also the only writer that I know, Alan Wake.
Gods of Asgard is here. Take it
Fuck.
away, you crazy lady.
Was I on a talk show tonight? Waking up in
Let me
places
move.
with no
Let me move.
memory
Let
of
me
how
move.
I'd gotten there. It was out of control.
Oh, fuck off.
I didn't need another mugshot in the
Well,
fucking
look at that.
tabloids.
I was gonna look at these because I did see these dudes
Had I
dressed up in
already done
leather,
the show?
and one of them had
Was that a
had
recording?
an eye patch, and it fucking is Odin Anderson
Fucking is.
and Tor, my boy. I'm so glad they're back. Even
glad.
just for this. If this is as much as we get for the old gods of
I felt a
Asgard,
strange
I'm
pull
fine
toward
with
the
that.
TV.
Alan, you can't tell me where to go. You're not the boss of me. Oh look, did Sam Lake sign that as Sam Lake? Yes, he did.
It's just Sam Lake.
It's just Sam
Don't
Lake.
worry about it.
Is that Ati? That kind of looks like Ati.
Kind of. He's kind of wearing a jumpsuit.
Yeah.
That might be an eye.
Trying to get the camera to. That looks like an Ati.
It's the only one that's not signed.
It has a signature on it.
Oh, does it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like super duper faint, like right on his shoulder.
Oh,
okay. Sorry. We'll go and see why the TV is pulling us in. That's an actual Alan.
it's an Alan.
Good to see you, Alan. Great to see you. Welcome back to the show.
Why is this so quiet?
Sit down.
No idea.
Woo!
He's not Alan Woke, he's Alan Ocean.
It's so good to see you, Alan. This must be an exciting time
Wotion?
for you.
Wotion.
I called him
You
Washer.
called him Wotion.
So does what get old?
Publishing a new book. Are you okay there, my friend? You look like you've been cooped up in the writer's room for a few too many years.
My boys!
This is exactly how I feel.
Nice to see their lip sync is still just slightly off.
To get my hands on the sequel to Departure. You left us on quite the cliffhanger. We've all been dying to know what it's not a lake, it's an ocean.
You and me
Sorry.
both.
Well, our wait is over.
What does he mean, Alan?
Alan doesn't know.
What were you on about?
Tomorrow.
What?
That's exactly what every reader will do. This book is mind-bending. It's so cerebral. I mean, how would you describe it? An auto-fictional thought experiment?
Hold on, I am going to turn them up just a bit because this is ridiculously quiet and I don't understand why. Please, thank you.
A horror story? A postmodern detective story?
Wait. This isn't right. I haven't written anything.
He's so humble.
Okay, you got me. Good prank, very funny. But yeah, sad to say, I've not written this. I'd remember if I'd written a book, right?
Or maybe it was written by your evil double.
Don't. We're not doing this. We're not making Mr. Scratch a thing.
That is spot
It's a thing.
Playing the role
It's 100% a thing.
The world of the book overlaps our own. That's very meta indeed. You see, Initiation tells the story of a fictional writer named Alan Wake, who is trapped in a nightmare, desperately trying to
I think he
find
was
the
already like
manuscript
an
of a novel
extended
he has forgotten.
Alan Wake universe thing.
The book
Was
is set in
Mr.
New
Scratch?
York, but it might not be New York at all.
Just it doesn't feature in the
He's tormented by
initial
this
game.
dark,
There's a lot of like
and guided
comics
by
and stuff, I
visions
think.
of a fictional detective he has written. That's right. Alex
Horrible.
Casey is in this book as well.
I guess we'll just keep doing this the whole show. The joke's on me.
But isn't that what you sign up for with autofiction? No, but seriously, I found the structure of the reality you build in the book fascinating. It reminded me of The Matrix. I mean, the writer is physically in his writer's room, trapped there,
Please.
and he projects himself out to this dark dream of New York through the story he is writing. Like astral projection. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Go on. I should be taking notes here. This is great stuff.
Notes to that other Alan Wake in that room writing this as we speak? Are we all in your story, Alan? Wow. No, I wish you every success with your new book, Alan. I hope it's as successful
wanna
as
know
your
your diner
best-selling
coffee
Alex
mug.
Casey series. Initiation hits the shelves tomorrow. After this, I'm sure we'll all be eagerly awaiting the culmination of this hero's journey trilogy of yours. A book called Return, perhaps. Man, thank you for one of the strangest interviews of my entire career, Alan.
Actual image of Scott Cawthon trying to figure out the plot of FNAF. Everyone just feeding him the ideas. Wow! We're not real anymore.
What do you mean? It's exactly
Hello?
the same.
Oh, wow,
Okay, he's a bit
Alan,
loud
you're
now.
very loud. Why are the cutscenes so fucking quiet?
Going on, it's a shame. Ned was playing while they were having those, so while you were messing with the settings.
Yeah.
So you know, at least the timing was
Lieutenant,
fine.
Something's not right here. I needed
It
to
is
get
going to be
home.
louder for us, but it
To
does
Alice.
look like it's fine in OBS.
That's fine. We can do it.
Old gods of Asgard! Old gods of Asgard! Okay, sorry.
We need the old gods of Asgard merch.
Absolutely. Where do I buy a band tee?
What the hell was that interview? Some kind
More
of joke?
Poster.
Initiation? I never wrote a book called Initiation. This felt like a bad dream. Could make a good horror story.
Well, don't have a flashlight yet. I clearly don't have a weapon.
I'm gonna write a horror story about a brilliant author who got lost behind the set of a talk show.
Horrifying. I can't think of anything scarier. Hello?
Old gods of Asgard. That name sounded familiar.
How could you not?
Motherfucker.
How can you not? Take control! Can't read that one. I want these posters.
Is Take Control the song it plays in Control? Was that an Old Gods of Asgard song that it played in Control? There's a part in Control where it plays a song. It's from Artie's like mixtape that he gives you at one point.
Sounds like it might be Old Gods of Asgard. I'm here for it. Oh, he's got good taste. Mr. Door's room.
I was a mess. I'd never heard of this talk show or Mr. Door before. None of it felt right. Was I losing my mind?
My boy.
My Interpretation of Many Worlds by Dr. Casper Darling.
That's stupid and rambling, but in a funny way and not an Alan Wake way.
Be precious and endearing and delightful. Well, I don't know the code.
Hey!
665?
think I've been
Never of
locked
the
in.
Beast?
Anybody?
Idiot.
Fuck. Now I have to find the code myself. Great.
You were right. Wowee.
What is that? 04511
There
is
was
better.
something here. A broken transmission I couldn't
Look at that
quite
in a
make
second.
out. What was that? A message? Impossible to say.
Oh, just kidding. It's over now.
Oh, jeez.
It was just Alan's face. It's fine.
We've seen that.
We are familiar with Alan face.
We've seen Mirror.
Limu! Limu?
Limu.
Locos! What are those things under the chips? Giant chocolate bars.
Oh.
Dairy cream. This big chocolate.
Big chocolate.
Okay, figured that was the door they wanted us to go through. Hence why we're checking everything else. I'd love a flashlight. Just generally.
There was something in the studio with me.
Excuse me?
I had to get out.
The wall's breathing.
Building settling.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about it. Oh, jeez.
You go crunch?
Goodness gracious, Alan. This is why we need to stop getting wine
Waking up
drunk.
from the nightmare, I felt like a drowning man gasping for air. This place felt familiar. A ghost of a memory surfaced about riding here for countless days.
I
Okay.
remember that. That was Alan Wake 1. Oh.
Is this our mind place? Mind place equivalent. Tea. Radio. Now look at these.
I had been writing. Initiation.
I thought that was all he was gonna say, was just, I had been writing. I mean, it's more or less all he said, actually. Alan, please.
A plot board for mapping
And
out a
his
story.
typewriter and starts hitting the keys.
On the index cards, the nightmare
Getting him in the right order. That's the
summary
trick.
of the story so far. But
He
other
just
notes
hits
as
all
well.
of them until words
Words.
actually show up, until he gets like the right combination, then he takes that and puts it in a different manuscript.
The name Scratch filled me with dread. I could trust these words.
Oh
I
boy.
had to act on them. You must write to escape.
Just writing one long run-on sentence, and his editor, Dean Lerner, has to go back in afterwards and add in commas and full stops and things.
Waking up to a nightmare. At the talk show, I had thought I was home in New York, but none of it had felt right. I was trapped in the dark place, a nightmare beyond our world. Writer's room was my safe haven. My writing affected what was outside. I was trying to write a story to escape this place. The story was called Initiation. The story I wrote, I projected myself out to look for a way to escape. I tried many times. Failed. This place
I
made
had to
me
write
forget.
more.
Oh. Everything Dor had said had felt true. Was that part of my writing or coming from somewhere else? The dark place! Trapped! You must write to escape! Read to me! Beware Scratch! Alice.
Oh,
Wow, what a great thing. I have to get back to writing. That's my goal. Let's go.
I didn't remember much, but I knew my thoughts and ideas could manifest
Sorry.
as reality in this
oh,
dark
we're
place.
going.
I'd use my writing to project myself out of this room, like a deep sea diver to go deeper and explore
Don't
the depths
talk
of this
to me
prison
about
for a
deep sea
way out.
divers. Get out of here.
This room was my boat. Writing was my lifeline. I would start again at the talk show.
Thank you. Oh, you're too kind. Welcome
But
back.
did you find any good passages for later?
We're all pretty good. I'm just gonna jump in on a random bed.
Fair?
Alex Casey himself is here tonight. That's right.
It's halfway down.
Sam Lake!
Given his fame
Sam
as
Lake!
the detective in the film series. And of course, we have Alan Wake here, the best-selling writer the books the films are based on. Let's do this.
We have to watch this. Hold on, I have to screenshot that. Can we not have the F in there? Is that possible?
F off.
Save that for myself for later. Because it's very funny to me.
Welcome back to the show. So, Alan, as the creator of the character, how do you feel about this?
Sorry, what?
Fine. I know it can be an awkward question with the man sitting right next to you, but I mean, how do you feel about him in the role of Casey?
Sorry,
Does he
Sam Lake is a
look the part to
fucking
you?
goofball and I love him.
He looks exactly like I always imagined Casey to be. It's uncanny.
Thank you. That means so much to me. I'm a huge fan of your books.
So, what's the problem, Alan? Because on more than one occasion, you voiced your reservations about the adaptations.
It's not that. They're their own thing. They've gone with choices that are different from mine. I feel protective about my stories, and these adaptations... I don't know. I guess I just wish I could have been more involved in making them.
Well, in that case, you won't have seen this either. We have a clip from the new film, Murder Case Casey. Should we roll it, or do you want to say something first, Sam?
Nah, just roll it.
Very exciting.
Same.
This city was an old scar that refused to heal. The rain made it fester. It needed the sun, but there was only the night. I was tired. Insomnia covered me like a plastic film. I was watching the world through a rain-slick window, my own reflection haunting the view. I was trying to track down a missing writer. My only clue was a table lamp shaped like an angel, the only thing to shed light on this sordid mystery.
That's great! Murder Case Casey! Great job, Sam. Very exciting and very meta. I'm looking
It's
forward
just
to
him
more.
staring at the camera, just being sad for the whole movie.
About a lamp.
Beautiful. Oh, we're here again. Okay. Somebody whispering? It's fine, I'm sure. Can't believe you'd do this. Sit next to me and just whisper. Oh.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Check the room.
Beautiful.
Six, seven. One above them. Oh.
5, 6, 5. That's kind of neat.
Yeah. Kim's just been wildly good, so I like better than I thought it would be.
Honestly, my expectations were definitely like a little tempered. I was expecting it to be good, but like lower end good.
Yeah. Like Alan Wake 1 good.
Yeah. This has been rad so far though. I can hear squelchy sounds. We'll just not bother with that. That's fine, I'm sure. I'm still a little hesitant about the investigation aspect, like the mind place and all that kind of stuff. But
it's a little underdone, but I get that it's not like the main game.
If it does end up like letting me continue to progress without necessarily having to focus on it though, then I'm not too upset about it. Is that our boy? What's in here? Oh, why are you so tall compared to these stalls? Or I guess the better question is, why are these stalls so short? Let's see. Why is this so wiggly?
Is that Artie? That's Artie.
What's that?
That's Artie, and that's Artie singing.
That's what I fucking thought!
Ah, Lorraine! There you are, Tom. Not so much evil that not a bit of good as well. Not one without the other.
Good to see you.
So we really are just combining everything, huh?
Hey, I can't seem to find my way out of here. Can you point me to
I'm
the
kind of
exit?
fine with that. It just showing up.
Oh,
in all
same.
of them.
Same.
The work will instruct its maker. I was gonna get something from the basement for you, but you can get it yourself now. The more cooks, the worse the soup.
Love you.
To hug him?
Their hug button?
No hug button. Excuse me. I assume that the big words are the ones that will like progress onto the next thing.
That makes
So
sense.
I'm gonna ask the
Have we
little
met
ones,
before?
even though we know who he is.
Are you trapped in the dark place
And
You remember Ahti, the janitor? You
I
can't
remember
be lost
Ahti.
if you don't worry about where you are headed. So don't worry, Tom. The sun will shine even into a heap of twigs. Just remember to turn on the lights. It won't take long when you get to work.
why is the audio cutting out like this?
Okay, now.
What do you
A
want
little
me to
bit.
get
Might
from
just
the
be my
basement?
headphones.
And my name's Alan, not Tom.
Ja, mutta
Please,
katsoppa,
Alan,
a
wait, who's the
a man,
body?
but a man with a tool makes two, Tom. Eikö niin? And a man with a tool can build his own exit. It's in a shoebox, in the basement where you left it. Safe as in the Lord's purse. Here's the key.
Chew! Chew
Hi,
Eyes
Chew.
here.
Hi, you two
My
as
best
raiding
bud.
with a party of 19. Keish and the gang welcome you.
Hello, friends. How are we doing? How's it going? We're here with our best friend, Ahti. Let me get a shout out for you real quick.
What are you playing? What are you playing?
Yeah, what are you doing? I know how to spell Chew. I know how to spell Chew. Tales Arise. Tales of Arise. How was it? How are you doing? Welcome in, pals. Welcome in, friends. We're doing some Alan Wake 2 today. It's pretty dang great, actually. And things are getting a little wild, and that's pretty cool and fun and nice. And I've got my friend Fruity here with me.
I'm here. I'm actually in the room.
Fruity is.
Kish's cats keep jumping on me.
It's true. Animation aliens. You just wanted to start it, but you wanted to replay the DLC launches.
I'm in the room.
Yeah, Fruity is here. Fruity, I kidnapped Fruity, and Fruity is in
I've
my
been kidnapped.
house.
It's great.
But it's great and it's wonderful and it's lovely, and we're just doing some Alan Wake. It is the second one. It's the newest one. If you haven't seen or played the original, I would highly recommend it. It's real dang good. But
Probably don't like 100% need to. It's pretty decent. It's the first one.
Yeah.
The second one seems a lot. So.
They've definitely polished things. Feel like Remedy as a whole has just had like a chance to really just kind of like figure out what they're doing with video games. But it's good. It's real good.
Chew, come on over.
Yeah, get on over here, friend. We'll have a party. We'll get all of our friends over, and it'll be a great time, actually. But yeah, thank you for rating. We really, really appreciate it. For everyone who's come over, but especially Chew. You've been streaming for a while, probably. If you need to take a break, please feel free to do so. Do a lurk or just get up and go. Whatever you gotta do, you know? It's important that you take care of your dang self. We've been here for a bit, but excuse me. Oh my gosh, sorry, I have like hiccups. We'll probably be streaming for a bit longer because we're liking this and I'm having fun with it, and I kind of don't want to stop.
I'm not sure we're gonna stream today, but I think we just both wanted to play more.
We just wanted more Alan is the thing. Even though he is stinky and has an unwashed ass and smells of too much Old Spice, we love Alan here.
And some lake water now.
And there is some horrible lake water mixed in with that. But yeah, get out of here. Do a lurky lurk. Get some food, please. Take care of yourself.
Get food.
But yeah, thank you for bringing your friends over. Welcome, everyone. It's wild here is the thing. Oh, I guess I should probably like introduce myself. I did see there were like a couple of first-time chatters. Welcome in, pals. My name is Kayshurrr. You can call me Kaysh. I use they them pronouns. I'm a horror and mystery game streamer. I like to play spooky stuff here. Because of that, I offer content warnings for every single game that we play. There are currently no listed content warnings for this game. So just be aware of that. We've got the like ESRB rating stuff, which is not particularly great.
Haven't been anything like specific so far, really. There's a lot of gore.
Yeah, there's gore. There's blood and gore. There were some ding dongs earlier.
There was a ding dong.
And some murder. There has been some murder, both that we have committed and that we have witnessed. Oh, I guess I should probably like add. There's been animal death in this, huh?
Yeah, there is now. There were shadow dogs.
Shadow dogs and mutilated animal corpses. But aside from that, been pretty alright. Violence against animals. And then let me update that in the actual thing. Try to do this at like after streams and stuff, but this feels like a thing that should be just to let everyone know.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, so that's updated now. But yeah, we're Alan right now. We've been playing as an FBI agent named Saga Anderson. She's been pretty all right.
Our best friend.
Our best friend.
He's the janitor.
He is the janitor, and we love him. Give me that key, buddy. He's just been standing here holding that key for me, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, do you know how I can escape?
He's very
trying
patient.
to find a way to escape the dark place.
He possibly doesn't
Any
perceive
suggestions?
time the same way that we do.
Right. Do it, chew. It's like honest. I really like the first one. It's very silly but very good. This one has been amazing thus far. You can skip American Nightmare.
Yeah, that's unnecessary. I only one we can talk about how stinky Alan is.
Yeah.
Do it. Finds its way.
The janitor was a bit out there, but still a friendly face.
Ati,
I had to
this guy
trust
right
the
here is
basement
from
would get me
Control.
out of here.
I never finished Control. I had a very hard time with the controls in Control and the lack of
It's really
functional
not
map.
built for a mouse and keyboard.
No.
It's way better suited to controller.
I've tried with controller and it did work a little better, but I still was just I was not feeling it. So I can make you play for me while you're here.
Yeah, I can do.
Please and thank you, because it was really cool. I really like the idea, and I really liked like the overall like story that was being told. It was just very hard for me to play. I am weird about that kind of thing though. So would recommend. Don't let my opinion of it turn you off from it. It's neat. It's interesting. Okay,
I do a lot of good.
I have a map. I can't pull it up though. So that's cool.
Like, you happy you're guiding key?
I don't want to. Yeah, make me.
Yeah.
I assume the star means that that's where I am. No, that says Mr. Door. I don't know where I am in this. It's fine. We'll figure it out. We have to go to the basement. We know that.
Left-hand wall.
Oh, hey,
never
basement.
mind.
Right-hand wall, actually.
Well, I mean, if you'd followed the left-hand wall, you'd still got there. Just let's go around a bit.
Taken forever. It's been ages. But yeah, there is overlap between Control and Alan, and it's wild, kind of cool. What is this? What is this icon? Is that where light is? Is that what you're telling me? Weird.
Oh,
I can still hear Ati singing upstairs.
That have to be alive.
Okay. Maybe we don't go there. Actually, I'm knocking things over. It's fine.
An old lamp in a shoebox. Was this what the janitor had left for me?
It's the lamp shaped like an angel. That was mentioned in the
lamp felt significant.
The teaser for
a tool
Murder
for
Case
bringing light
Casey.
to the darkness.
Yeah.
Alan, where'd you get this bag?
I felt a magnetic pull
Oh yeah, I
between
gave
the
him that
lamp
as well.
and the light overhead.
Whoa!
When the light
Oh.
jumped into my lamp, the whole room changed. Like
Oh.
something in a dream.
Oh.
Opening
Oh.
the way forward.
Did he
the
just
lamp was humming.
what were those
The
things
bulb
called?
glowed.
Oofs.
It held
Or
the
whatever.
Yeah.
From Control.
I can't remember what they're called. Something like that.
Something very silly.
They're SCPs, but by a different name.
Cow.
And it's specifically the ones that are objects that do weird stuff.
I felt another surge from the lamp.
Yeah.
The glow in the lamp went out, shifting the light in the room.
Oh, this is cool.
The light carved out something new from the darkness.
Take that back. And looking for things.
Yeah.
Can I go through here? I can.
Oh, he does the weird shoulder badge as well whenever he goes to a door.
Almost like Saga was some sort of self-insert or something. What if I do this?
Saga's a lady. Come on.
You're right. Completely different.
Completely different.
Oh.
Weird.
Very weird. I can't go in there, but that's okay. Go in here.
Here I again. Oh, I did.
Oh. Okay, how do we get here with the light that we have? Is this down? Down is where we came from, right?
That's so.
Yeah. Okay.
How many shots do we get?
Just the one.
Huh. The one shot.
Yeah. I like that you can see that, like, it's lit up in his bag.
Yeah.
Cool. Nice touch. What's through here?
I needed to find another way out.
Okay. Great. Maybe we do... We'll do this. We'll put this back.
Yeah.
And then go upstairs and see if we can do that. Or see if it's accessible. It's not. It's still not. Okay. Cool.
How does this work? Do we not go over the other side? Oh, does the corridor just not exist in this world?
It didn't exist, or it does exist when we don't have the light. Does it exist now? It does. Okay.
I know.
All right. There we go.
The dark place wants to drown me. I'm
Hard to
losing
keep track
myself.
of
I have to fight it.
when swapping
I have to
between the two
remember.
so much.
The clicker. The light switch. I lost it. But I have the lamp now. The lamp the switch was cut from. This place is a nightmare.
Is this where the
Not real,
clicker
and yet
came from?
More real than anything. The danger and the horror real. It feeds off my mind. Twisting whatever it takes into psychotic reality. I'm trapped here. I write to escape. I've tried this many times. Written countless stories. Forgotten how many. I keep failing. But I must keep trying. I use the story to dive deeper. Every word I write is a step forward on this spiral in the darkness. I dive to the bottom to find the answer, the map, and the key, and the compass. It's combined to form a door leading out. But how do you open a door that's not a door? At the bottom of an ocean, it's not an ocean. And a lake, that's not a lake.
Alan, I think you've lost a little bit, buddy.
Kind of a bit wrong.
I assumed that was going to be a song, hence why I skipped it.
Yeah, probably.
That. Or do I... Let's just leave it there for a second. Let's see where this goes.
Is Alan like... Yeah, a weapon?
Oh!
The payphone was ringing. Somehow I knew the call was for me.
I hope Alan gets a weapon. That would be delightful. This looks like it's a bad thing, but I'm gonna touch it.
What did you do? Oh.
I got turned around. Scratch!
It's been graffitiing here.
Scratch!
It's the guy.
Guy! Where's the payphone? There's the payphone.
Hello?
Alan Wake?
Yes.
Do you know who I am?
Who this?
No? Who is this?
We'll get to that later. There are spies all over. Shadows.
A sense of deja vu washed over me. Had I had this conversation before?
Alan, listen to me carefully. Cold
You know who I miss?
Station.
Barry.
Yeah, where's Barry? Is he okay?
I'll call you again later. Make sure to pick
Someone
up.
tell me where Barry is.
We invoked the old
I
gods
know
of
you from
Asgard.
somewhere.
Maybe we can invoke Barry.
Just need everyone to think about Barry real hard for a couple of minutes.
We don't want Alan's wife to
I'm
show up
losing it.
again. We want her to be
No, she
safe
needs
as
to be
far
free.
away from Alan as possible.
Also, the graffiti on the payphone said "Scratch, don't write." Subway pass. Somebody that probably doesn't work, Alan.
Kind of, I don't know how long it's been there, Alan.
The likelihood that somebody with a usable subway pass has dropped it is very slim. That very much be Casey. Sorry. Definitely feels
The man
like
had said
maybe
Caldera Street Station. I had to go
Dark
there.
Place. Close to Casey. Night Springs.
We love Night Spring.
Lost.
Not so big a fan of Lost.
Wow, Scratch has been busy around here, huh?
Did play that Lost game on the Xbox.
So bad.
I do want to play through. I'll need to like play through on my own time so I know where to go at all. Then I can stream it.
New season coming soon. It's not like your stories are any good.
It's true.
Not like they have any artistic merit. Cheap thrills and pretentious shit. That's all you're good for. Just look at me. Look at your work. You're a lousy writer. Sorry, I love this.
Right?
It's what we've been saying all along, Alan. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Alan. It's very true.
Fuck. Okay, don't mind me, just passing through. Shadows stirred like there was someone there.
Someone was making
But
bad
there was
noises
no
over
one.
there.
I wanted to keep it that way.
Can I steal the light somewhere? That'd be great. Love that for me. Oh, here's the map. I can't access the map using M now, which is weird. But, you know, I have to go to Caldera Street as opposed to Ocean Avenue.
Well, they're disoriented in the darkness. How long had I been out? Hours? Minutes? Days? Weeks? Months? Years? Decades? Centuries? Millennia? Decamillennias? Meganums? 10 meganums? Possibly decameganum or megameganum. Hell, maybe it was even tempus immemorial, i.e. Latin for always or beyond the scope of time.
Maybe I could use the lamp.
Trying not to
reveal the
panic, I
station
checked my
entrance.
watch. Just over 2 hours.
Oh, jeez. That's an American Nightmare outfit right there.
It is, that's his checkered shirt. Shirt.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
There was a light at the end of the alley ahead.
All these cold Casey posters are killing me.
We're like, oh no, because it's the funniest phrase to teach a toddler, right?
Absolutely. Just a very good thing to teach your toddler.
Yeah, it's also funny.
Is this the way it was on the page?
What the hell?
Red triangles here. Oh, that's Max Penn.
Oh, hey. We met at Door's show.
Alan Wake, the writer. I'm Alex Casey. I'm looking into a murder.
Alan, you're in a movie.
What is this?
There's a piece of evidence, a manuscript of a novel. You wouldn't know anything about it?
A manuscript? What manuscript? I need to see it.
Rumor had it the manuscript contained the details of the murders.
Not like an out loud, Max.
Following the story to commit their gruesome acts. Was Wake their leader? Had he?
Sir, what are you talking about?
How far would he go to create a perfect work of art? Or would he be the next victim?
This is wild and I love it.
Stay here.
No, wait! I need a gun!
No chance.
Well, Alex Casey's fucking dead.
What do you mean? He has bullet cuts. Alright, maybe.
Doesn't sound like it's going well for him.
Maybe he was bad at the game. Max Penn does die a lot, he just quick loads.
Yeah. Well, let's go check on him.
Damn it.
How you doing, buddy? Oh, there he is.
I remember dying in this alley in a dream I had. He was just gonna keep killing me here, loop by loop. You're not gonna get what you want. You think you
Oh,
know.
he's fucking dead.
Shit. You don't really wanna know.
Oh, is
You're gonna
dying.
get what's coming to you.
Game, I was joking when I said that Alex Casey was fucking dead. Oh, I found the light. Cool boy. Oh, he has 3 batteries
This
on.
was an echo of the books I
love
had written for years. Picking up Casey's gun felt like I was
Find,
assuming the role of the
die.
detective.
You lost? You lost her. Ocean. We see you.
Oh, there's Alice.
Alex. Give me that.
I had a light now. I needed to get back to the subway station entrance.
He's gone.
Shit. With the alley in darkness now, less of the shadows block my way.
Well, it's fine. You want me to do this? Kind of want me to do that. We can do that. Why is that dumpster smoking?
Don't throw out a smoke machine.
Well, we can just Walk past? Nope. Can't walk past all of them. Understood.
The shadows faded out until they didn't. They were trying to stop me. The gun and flashlight couldn't fight back.
Are we getting attacked by the dumpsters?
They were just blocking our way.
Okay. It's,
Yeah.
you do. Alan Wake has been attacked by dumpsters before.
Not something that you know is unheard of.
Probably the most dangerous enemy in Alan Wake 1 is just stuff. I'm gonna run to the loop quick. I'll be right back.
Do it. This is gonna give me a minute to figure out where the subway is.
I have 1 minute.
Ah, it's on the time. OD Diner. Don't want to go there. Subway? No. I don't. Can we reload? No, we've already got 6 bullets. That's fine. Did say there's stuff down that alley, but isn't that the alley we just came down from? We need to go back to Caldera Street? Yeah. Okay, I see. For some reason I thought Caldera is where we came from. That was not the case. That's also not the street we want to go down. Alright. We're on track. We found it. Cult of the World. I'm having a very fun time reading all of this stupid graffiti.
I needed to
Return
find
Scratch. Return the Scratch.
Return the Scratch.
Oh, there's one over here that says Return Scratch. Return the Scratch.
I heard what you said.
Okay. Can't read any of that, but I can open this, so that's exciting. It's just painkillers.
Just throwing this out there. There is a part in Gafmarangi where he gets trapped in his own subconscious. Just
for no reason.
No
unrelated to everything. How do I? I don't have any charges, and I need one. Can I nab the one that's out here while being in here? No, absolutely not. Understood. Hello? We go here then? So instead of being a subway, it's actually a tallway. Is what you're telling me. What's here? Somebody lives here. I'm sorry. Where am I going? They can all stay there. That's fine.
Careful now.
Okay. Hi, Mono. We appreciate a good lurk from time to time.
Fun.
Hey, what you got, a friend? Nice to see you though. Oh, can I store stuff? I put things in the shoebox and access the shoebox later.
Ooh.
I don't think I need to store anything though, is the thing. Because we have, it looks like we have the same inventory as Saga as far as like spaces are concerned.
I'm mad by how much space that medkit takes up.
It's a big first aid kit. It restores my health fully.
Did he not do that and not take up 2 spaces? That's
kind
of a tiny shotgun in that much space.
It's a really big first aid kit. Aw. AWE? Is that what it's called?
No, I don't think so.
Who's humming? Is my friend?
Hello.
Oh!
Hey, Alan. You snuck
Oh.
up on me.
Also, I feel like I recognize this man. I mean, like, it's the sheriff. It's Sheriff Breaker from earlier, but I feel like I recognize his actor. let me specify.
Diva says.
Yeah, it's just what he does.
Sorry. Have we met? Memory problems again, huh? Yeah, we've met.
Is that...
Tim
I
Breaker.
don't remember his name.
We've shared notes.
But is it Lamplighter from The
I made some
Boys?
progress on the map if you
Oh,
want
I have
to
no
take a look.
idea.
Slash,
Still haven't found my mystery
the
man,
guy from... Is that Man of Medan?
Well, Black Bear.
Whoa, Black Betty, Man of Medan.
I got a Diva on me again.
Oh, goodness.
He's sneaking up. He can jump over the side.
Yeah. You don't take up the whole dang chair.
I'm very small. You only have tiny friends.
Only have tiny friends. All my friends are tiny. Sylvie raid!
Sylvie!
Hi, Sylvie!
Sylvie Stop is raiding with a party of 9.
Sean
Kaysh and the gang
Ashmore,
welcome
is that
you.
him? Sorry, I'm trying to figure out who this man is. And you're all gonna have to just wait a minute while I figure this out. It is Sean Ashmore. It's Lamplighter. Welcome in, friends. How's it going? How are we doing? Let me get a raid going for you. Or not a raid, a shout out. I don't listen, my brain is broken right now.
The raid is inbound.
It is happening. How are you liking Little Nightmares? Hey, Sylvie, how are you liking Little Nightmares? That's not this train. No, listen. But howdy, friends. Welcome in, everyone. How are y'all doing? You beat it today? It's such a good game. Little Nightmares is so good. It's precious. The second one is also pretty good, but I think I like the first one better, but like would also recommend the second one, if you get to it. That's 6. 6 is perfect. She's precious and perfect, and we love her. Yeah, no, it's a good dang game. I'm so excited that you beat it, and that you had a good time. What do you mean 6 is a terrible child? What do you mean?
Shallow wrong again.
Only half wrong.
It's been known to happen.
It's fine. Sometimes you gotta eat a little guy. Sometimes you gotta eat a little guy.
I eat this little guy, and then we'll see how you feel. What do you think about that?
Well, don't eat that little guy. He'd claw you.
Oh, well, that's true. Yeah, but he clipped his claws, so.
But yeah, welcome in, friends. We're playing some Alan Wake 2. It's great here. I'm shining this light in this man's eyes so he can't see. We're playing as Alan Wake. He's a stinky man who's bad at writing. And we love him. Well, love is a strong word. We love the things around him. But yeah, so you've probably been streaming for a little while. If you gotta take a break, please feel free to do so. We'll be here for a bit longer. We're just having a good old time with our good friend Sheriff Breaker. Who's got a whiteboard, apparently. That's cool. And it's gonna be
we should
great.
get a whiteboard.
Should get a whiteboard.
We should write things on the whiteboard and tell people to keep them in mind.
It's true. This is true. But yeah, it's been good. We've really liked it so far. It's real cool, real neat. We're a bit into the game, so if you're wanting to play this yourself and don't want any spoilers, I totally get it. But also consider time to hang out with us and do some Alan Wake. But yeah, if anybody, Sylvie or any of the raiders need to, please feel free to go take a break. It's important that you take care of your dang selves. That's more important than hanging out, I think. But you can always come back and chill out if you want. That's fine, maybe. I do have Fruity here. Fruity's here streaming with me.
I'm here.
In case you didn't know from them talking earlier as well. Don't worry about it. It's all
You're making
fine.
a map.
Trying to. It's hard to map a dream, though.
Devo's here too.
I keep ending up in
Devo is
unexpected
here,
places.
being a cute little
I find
guy.
interesting things like those
You're
things where
kissing
things
him on the
react
head.
to the light, but never the
Trying to-
one thing that I'm looking for.
It's a
Feel free
bad
to check
place
the
for
map out.
captions
Oh,
because
I've been
it's
stockpiling supplies while I poke
bright.
around. If you find a stash, take anything you need.
Okay,
I
cool. I've already
appreciate the
taken
help.
everything.
Yeah, stashes down in the coolers.
He's stashing in these coolers.
Yeah, we found coolers on the in the other one too, right?
I don't think that's him, unless he's part of the cult. Which, you know.
I mean,
Who's
it's
this
probably.
mystery man?
Well, it wouldn't be much of a mystery if I knew. All I have is a name.
Oh, I thought that's all he was gonna say.
Warland
Cool,
Door.
is that one of the
The
main
talk
things?
show host?
Is there really?
No,
Mm-mm.
no, that doesn't sound like him.
The
The
lunchboxes
guy has
were
many
after.
disguises, but a talk show host? No.
That's understandable.
Keep
Train. Sorry, I'm trying to I don't know how to talk today. Is the thing. But yeah, thanks for stopping in. It's always delightful to see you. You should definitely play. Alan Wake at some point. Do it. It's great. Would recommend. Does he not have anything else to say to me? Alright, we'll just go back to blinding him, I guess. What's this?
Oh, that's my crazy wall. I'm just trying to make sense of things.
That's my crazy wall.
I'll trade you walls any day.
This is my crazy wall. Remember, I was at the morgue. I was about to give the evidence to the FBI. Door transported me here to this dream reality. Why? Who? Where? Why? Motive? Why me? Facts. Missing time. No memory. Until now. Have I always ended up here? Will I forget when I get out? Abducted? Aliens? Door? UFOs? Polyhedrons? Dreams! Me, but not me. Others I know, yet they are different? The red-headed woman? What is... I mean, it is kind of a crazy wall, buddy. But at least you know.
I like his crazy wall. He's taken it very well, you know, being just washed to another dimension.
Sounds like it's happened before?
Yeah.
Like...
Does this happen often, bud?
Right?
Can we talk to him about this?
Hey, buddy.
Friend.
I got some questions. How are you doing, first off? There's nothing else I can ask him. Alright. There's a map, again, in case you didn't get it at first, but I did.
See you around, Alan.
Bye, Breaker. You seem pretty alright for a cop. I reserve the right to retract that opinion at any time, though. Oh, we go up. Hello? If you did not come towards me, that would be cool. Actually, do you want to jump over this, Alan? No, you absolutely do not. I like it. I am scared, though, is the thing. Not, like, scared, but, it's a little unnerving. It's a bunch of shadow men just hanging out. Ominously moving towards me. Can I have this? Is there anything in there? There's some health. We'll take that. Shoebox in a break room. My location. What is this? Is that up there? Sorry, I'm trying to get a feel for, like, how they hide things here. Yeah. Worst Casey. Fine, Dallas. Do not do that to her. Weird. Sounded like somebody was running up on me. Let's not have that happen. Can we open this? Oh, can I get the light?
Can I go down? Can we go down a little bit? Oh, don't want to go down.
Doesn't want to go down? You can't make him go down. You can make him go down.
I can make. But, you know,
He'll be sad about it, though.
he's wiggling around a lot, so it does seem like he's not going to be up here for long if he keeps this up.
This is just what he does, is the thing. Devo just wiggles.
Devo's my best friend. Devo loves me.
It's true. Can't get enough of you.
So happy.
Is this where we came from? I don't think it is. I don't believe we came from here.
I think we came from ground.
Yeah, we went down some stairs.
Ooh.
What are you pointing at, buddy? Oh.
I'm between.
It's a little silly, but okay. Is there nothing in here?
No,
Hitting me?
It's all that trouble.
I'm gonna cry. Whoa, what's this?
There was something hidden here, a phrase repeated over and over. The words resonated with meaning. Had I written this?
Is there a thing in there now? Words of power could be used to make Wake stronger. Okay. Words of gun.
Words of stuff.
This is very silly.
Words of fix.
Let's see. Wellness increases maximum health. God raise. Get out of here. Increase maximum amount of health restored in safe havens. First 50% of max health when the new word of power is discovered. Okay. Words of gun. 5% chance to not consume ammo when firing the revolver.
Personal space.
Knockback force of Allen's shotgun. Increase flare gun's projectiles area of effect. Full stop! Increase damage dealt by the last bullet in the revolver's chamber by 25%. Increase double-barreled shotgun damage by 25% when hitting multiple enemies with one shot. Restores 15% of max health when landing a direct hit with a flare gun. Marks all nearby resources and points of interest on map. Expands Alan's inventory by one row. Adds one charge to Alan's flashlight. I don't like both of these.
I mean, if we make the resources, we can pick them up and get more words of power.
Right? So. Right? You just want to take a quick look at the other ones. Not horrible.
Words of action.
20% harder for enemies to detect. Decreases damage received by darkness projectiles. Are we talking dumpsters? Is that what you mean?
Is a dumpster a darkness projectile? If it gets thrown at you by the darkness?
I think so.
Do we have specifically a word of war?
Oh, stupid. Okay,
None of these look good.
No.
And the town of full stop, neither one of them seems great, but whatever. Only the last bullet, only 25%.
Yeah, but that's if it's hitting multiple enemies with one shot.
Yeah, but... And we don't have a shotgun.
Yeah. Cool, this fucking sucks. I hate this.
Does seem like it's easier to, like, engineer a situation where you can hit two guys than... I mean, I guess you can just never reload, but... 25% extra damage, rubbish.
It's not ideal.
Not ideal.
Okay, so then are these... Echo. Point of interest. That's behind me, but from where we came from, actually. Okay, we are just gonna wander around and do some looting real quick, because there's a lot of things on my map.
Sounds reasonable.
And I assume that's in here? Or down? Yeah. Okay.
Is weird. We're on the second floor again now.
Yeah.
We got here from the basement.
It's a thing.
Yeah, it didn't. I hadn't worked out if it was the world being wiggly or if it was just me being
Misremembering. Nah, it's the world
very
wiggling.
confused. It's probably both, to be honest.
Find the echo.
It's one of those like Riddler trophies.
Sure, but okay. I was just trying to figure out where it was. Oh, hi.
You thought you had it
Yes,
tamed.
I like that I can make
knew
him
what the hell
wiggle.
you were doing. Your last mistake. Unless you got lucky. And you didn't deserve it.
I do just like that it's just his face superimposed everything while he just like furrows his brow and
camera,
yeah.
was never there at all.
Just looks around.
Turned around somewhere along the way. The city was coming to finish you off, and there was nowhere left to run.
Okay. Well, I'm sure I can find somewhere to run. You know, just generally.
I had written
Very good at
books
running.
about Alex Casey for years.
Some of these just don't have anything in them.
I don't think any of these coolers have anything in them.
I've gotten.
I don't know what's going on with these.
I got a.
Yeah, I thought they were in.
Got some 1 out of 1. Got some meds out of 1. What I was
That's better than
attempting to
nothing.
say. Yeah. That's too many guys. I'm gonna stay in here for a second, and we're gonna look at our map.
I have to kill everyone with me. It's fine.
I've missed it again. Okay. No, everything's just wiggly. That's what's happening here. Don't fall down, Alan.
Do the actual rooms not connect to each other the same way they do on the map?
Yep. Okay, that's kind of fine. I think I can get back there from going this way, because it looks like it is by Breaker's room, which is over there.
I mean, it looks like.
Well, he's humming again.
See the point of interest?
No, because he's in here.
But
I think.
the rooms don't connect the same way they do on the map, I think.
Horrible. Okay. Did I look at this? Yeah, I did. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so he is our point of interest.
You're going down. Pull out the dang seat again.
Evo, please. Why are you like this?
Ugh. Hey. Evo. Unbelievable.
He's a menace. I don't know how else to tell you. He's a hooligan.
Seen him running around in the middle of the night going, ooh, ooh.
Horrible.
All night.
All day night. Awful. Now you understand.
Okay, now.
There's an echo there. Oh god. Somebody behind me just whispered, "I'm drowning," and I don't think that's my problem. I don't think that's an issue for me to have to take care of. We go up to go down. Right. Where am I now? Still in the same general area. Okay. So let's go out this way. I'm gonna go there. Can I do that from over here?
How do we get anywhere from anywhere?
That's a powerful question. Can I climb that? Is that climbable? I don't think we do a thing with this yet.
Alan, come on.
You can grab that, buddy.
Yank it down, bud.
Even if you can't yank it down, you can get on top of the car and then climb up. I promise.
He is pretty wine drunk, but he don't want to climb any more ladders than he has to.
Maybe. Oh, I made a mistake. Oh, I made a mistake. I need to leave. I made a mistake.
Oh, jeez.
That's too many guys. Well.
It's a guy or two.
You have to leave me alone. I'm in the light. You have to go away. This is another alley that connects to the alley that we were just in. But is there a thing here?
Treasure here?
Treasure? Here? There's a container over there. Do you have anything in you?
Yes. You have a lot of bullets, actually.
I'm very okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay, how do we go up?
Can people levitate?
Let's just, ah!
Oh, there's a few of them coming.
Yep. It's fine. It's fine.
I think there's a path through there in the dark wall.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out how to go up first. Maybe that's how we do it. Maybe that's the way.
Go big.
Okay. Alright. I'm ready. That's too many dudes.
Couple of dudes.
Ah! I can't see. Everything was horrible.
Huh. Why is there a path?
We'll keep looking. Just a second. Once I've
eaten all your painkillers.
Yeah, I just
like
gotta
the skills.
Gotta have my breakfast. In there. Okay. Here? Where?
Oh.
I kept seeing the reflection.
Yeah.
Thinking it was something.
Oh,
there it is. Please?
You have to focus.
No.
Okay, cool. Word of gun found.
I don't want word of gun though.
Word of gun. Is that the really bad one that we already got one of?
I don't think so. I think the one that we had gotten previously was word of war. Let's see. Yeah, we got a word of war last time. This
Use
one.
gun for?
5% chance to not consume ammo. Knockback of shotgun. Flare gun projectiles area. I mean,
that 5% actually seems like not that bad for that.
It's fine.
It'll save us some bullets in the long run.
Yeah.
Like, it is also the only weapon that we have out of the three.
Yeah.
Is that ladder?
I think so, but
is it just down in this wall? Sorry.
I don't know. I wanna go here.
I don't know how to get to that. I didn't connect to anything, bro.
Oh, wait, I think I know how to get there.
Whoa.
I think I can climb up there. And then we can see where we go. Are you healing? What are you doing, bud? Just flashing to let me know that we're in a safe spot?
I think it does that.
That's fine. I just need to know.
Now you know. You know we're in a safe spot.
Yes. Yes. Kind of. Yes.
Yeah.
This is how we got to where we were previously. Excuse me.
Yeah, there an item in there. That's nice.
There a perk to see if I can get an item ever in a chest? Where do I line you up with?
Yeah, is there like a... Would we know if we were close with these, or...?
You wiggled a little bit, but it was hard to tell.
I don't think we've made any progress with it, really.
I thought I saw it like a shift.
It does move a little bit. Sometimes it wibbles. Oh.
There we go. Okay. I understand better now.
The rain tried to wash away the sins of this city. But some sins, the evidence of the crimes committed, could never
Think
be
he ever
erased.
does like a
Not by
thing
the rain,
other than monologue in this movie?
No. Whole thing is just him monologuing.
It remains
100%.
under my skin like tattoos, bruises in my soul, scar tissue on my heart. The rain
That's not healthy.
never stopped falling, and I never stopped drinking.
You should. That's bad for you. Can't believe this guy. What's here? The word of power is somewhere there. Where?
Destined to end up bald in Brazil, wandering around in a Hawaiian shirt.
Horrible.
Talking absolute nonsense.
Can't believe it. Fucking Alex Casey. Excuse me. What did that do? What is this?
No. That's...
This is where we came from.
Okay.
So that was just a shadow man that I wasted a battery on. Cool.
That's to tell if they're gonna come at you, to be fair.
Yeah. It's fine. Excuse me?
You back?
Yeah.
Huh. No, we are.
Alright.
It's fine. It just loops around. I think the rooms might actually connect where it says they do on the map. I might just be bad at reading math.
There it is. New. There we go. Okay.
Word of lamp!
Word of lamp.
How many words do you know for lamp, Kish?
At least 2.
You fire away.
Lamp?
That's 1.
Light?
That can be.
Technically.
It's a broader concept, but you can refer to a lamp as a light.
I can tell you to turn on the light, and
I can't. There's no light.
Well, there's not
There's
in
no light
here.
in this part of the room.
But if we had a lamp, and I said, "Hey, turn on the light," you'd go turn the lamp on.
That's true.
I want that.
That's actually a really good one.
I want that one. Not even gonna think about the other ones. I want that one. Okay, and that's this area. Okay, I feel better about wasting all that time.
Honestly, this is just really cool. I know to just wander around as much as you want.
Cool, because that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Normally I'd be like, I gotta press on and do all this stuff, but also like it's really neat, and I like looking at everything, and I like finding all the stuff.
Like, this is a new one, and we're just vibing. Everyone else is gonna have to put up with you playing the game how you want.
It's true. If you don't like it, you can leave. I'd hate for people to leave, but at the same time, this is how I'm playing.
This is Alan.
Well, and if it does, like, I don't know, I kind of like how this is set up to be, it feels vaguely open world, but there is enough direction.
Everywhere you go eventually loops around into the main
Yeah,
quest.
it's there's enough to do, and like it does loop back, and like it's all fairly self-contained, but it's not boring like an open world. Said it.
It's the difference obviously is that there's like it's been the content has been like made on purpose by people. It's not just dumping stuff into a giant map.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's curated.
I'm here for that. Why I keep trying like open world games, because like I like the idea of like having a big space that I can just go out and wander in, but I do need some direction. I need there to be more than just big world with things
like,
thrown into
copy
it.
pasted events.
Yeah.
scattered over it, yeah.
I'll lose my attention otherwise. Where is it? Fuck. Okay, somebody is trying to attack me. It's you.
Oh, at least we know who.
Oh god.
Did wibble you.
I think I wandered into the... Ooh. Into the darkness a little too closely. I aimed ahead.
An achievement. Ah, it's in the middle.
Yeah, there it is.
It's fun.
Word of action. Damage dealt to enemies in close proximity.
Depending on what darkness projectiles are, that one could be good. Otherwise,
I mean, I'm assuming. I mean, turning tables makes me think of
tables being
flying.
fired at your head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a little concerned about that. This one seems nice though.
Maybe
just at
there's
the
not
moment.
like a crouch or anything.
No,
but...
which is why I assume that maybe it's just like I can just like walk through the shadow people without them like immediately being like, I'm gonna fucking end you, dude.
Yeah, man.
I think I'm gonna go with that one for right now.
That's fair.
And then next word of action is definitely gonna be the projectiles one. Because even if it's not things flying at me, like trash cans and manhole covers, not a small amount of damage reduction.
Yeah.
So I think we'll keep it. Also, there's something in that alleyway. And where else? Over by the studio. So grab those, and then do whatever the fuck it is that Alan wanted me to do. Because I've definitely forgotten what we need to do aside from
exploring this weird area.
Yeah. It's been cool, like, in the other sections, just because it is, like, vaguely familiar. I mean, like, the stuff by Cauldron Lake has been new, but it's, like, it's a familiar place. We know about Cauldron Lake.
We went through the town and it was the same as in the first game. That was very cool.
It was really neat, and I really liked it. But also, this is, like, all new, and I'm, like, super here for that. It's neat. Where? In here? See the arrows anymore. Oh, nope, there it is. Words of fix.
What a fix. These all look pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, the first one is like, it can't ever be bad.
Right? Also, more free health.
Yeah.
We haven't really been knocked down too much so far.
The problem is you want to heal if you get on low health.
Right.
So you use your health item and then you find the safe haven.
That is usually how it goes. Restoring 50% of max health while finding a word of power, pretty cool. But let's just go with the next one is increased by 35.
That's not bad.
Alright. Cool.
And also that'll just make the third one better as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just so much, even though presumably, you know, we're gonna run out of words of power eventually, but 50%, man.
Don't have to worry about that day just yet. There's a locked door there. We need to go back onto the street over to Wheeler. And then we can, like I said, we can figure out what it is that Alan wants us to do, actually. I lost her.
It was weird.
I think I just appreciate the fact. I mean, like, it makes sense. It's a AAA game at this point, but like that every bit of graffiti is like specific to game, as opposed to just being generic graffiti. Just refreshing. Maybe I've been playing too many indie games lately for such a small detail to be impressive to me, but
Maybe.
what can you do? There we go. We're to fix! Alright, well.
It is completely fair to use, like, if you're a small project,
Oh,
to
absolutely.
use an asset pack for something as tiny as, like, graffiti.
100%. It's just neat to, like, look at it and be like, oh, I know what that means!
Yeah, this is all relevant to the situation.
Yeah! Okay, we need... I still want to know what that is.
You got that.
Use light to get inside Caldera Street Station. Right. Okay. I was trying to do that, and then I got distracted by everything else.
It's a distracting world.
Very. Somebody is whispering at me.
It's so big and weird.
Yeah.
In the world and also in Alan.
Okay, I need to do that, and then I needed another light. That's why I got lost. I remember. We can steal the light from the car and make that go woo, 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 woo. And we can run away. It's just gonna make that noise forever now.
That's fine. I don't even know.
And then we can go through. And we can do the thing. Let's go! Cult of the word.
Very nice graffiti, this cult.
Very talented.
And some of them got triangles.
That's just their symbol.
The gates to the platform were closed.
Yeah.
I had a
It's
ticket.
all a pageantry, isn't it?
Oh, Alan, I was trying to have you do this one.
Alan just said the door's closed. Why are you checking the door?
And it doesn't work. Oh. Never mind. Convenient.
Something about the station platform felt significant. It would work in my writing, but I needed more.
That's an
Something
echo.
lingered here. A half-forgotten memory. An echo.
Where you go, Echo.
Where do you want to be, Echo?
Something was here. A vision
Alan.
about to reveal itself. I needed to look at it from the right
Well,
angle.
if it started revealing itself, then it just did it. Oh. Oh, that's wibbly. We need to move further back. Oh.
Okay, those are weird.
Come here before me on the trail of a murder cult. He'd gone missing, presumed dead. The cult
Just have to look
was
at it
leaving
for a
me
while and then
clues to
move
follow,
very
connecting the
slowly.
dots from one murder to the next, inviting me to draw an obscene picture on the city map. Caldera Street Station. The name made me
Sam, I
think
need
of
you
the
to be
exit
in
wound of
not
the
just one
I
here,
had a flash of
please.
inspiration. The ghost of my fictional detective. A story thread I could use in my writing.
Plot board.
I had a location. I had a story thread.
Sorry, Alan, I'm just gonna stop you right
The
there.
dark place reacted to my story. The way into the tunnels was no longer blocked.
Bigfoot.
Sasquatch.
Squatch.
blood.
The Fed had glimpsed into the maw of darkness. It swallowed him whole.
Okay. Whatever you say, Alan. Squanch.
The tracks led into the tunnel.
Who the fuck let Max
That was my way forward.
FBI, by the way?
Powerful question.
What did they think they were doing?
They thought it'd be a funny joke. And then it happened, and they were like, "Oh God, this was a mistake."
Continued deeper into darkness.
Okay. Well, they can just walk at me. That's fine. Hello, crime scene.
Huh.
Just trying to read graffiti.
Very colorful ones.
Excuse me.
Shit. I don't like the sound of that.
I'm sure it's fine. What's this? It's a map of the subway and a break room.
Oh, lovely.
I'd love to see it. We good to keep going?
I'm good to keep going.
Alright, let's keep going then. Would like to do a manual save, please and thank you. Do I need to put anything away? Not really.
You got quite a lot of space.
Yeah. Making sure I didn't miss anything.
Oh, squatches around.
So many squatch.
So many squatch.
Maybe they wrote Squatch wrong. Maybe they actually meant Mr. Squatch instead of Mr. Scratch.
Mr. Squatch, he was here.
He's here. Can't believe Mr. Squatch himself is in here. This looks cool. Whatever lighting they got going on over here, kind of neat. That appears to be a dead end, though. Alright. What's in here?
Cans.
Just cans. Word?
There? Yeah.
Word of aid. Area of effects. Effectiveness of trauma pads. Use painkillers more often than the trauma pads.
Either of those is probably really good.
Yeah. Let's do this one. Ooh, by 2 seconds.
Ooh.
2 seconds, you say. Oh, there goes the heater. Heater is on now. Gonna hear the heater in the background.
Over here?
Yeah.
Is the AC is here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
HVAC unit.
What's HVAC?
It is heating something in air conditioning. I don't remember what the V stands for.
Ventilation?
Might be ventilation. HVAC unit. Alice. Okay. Can I go in here? No. Hey, Alan. Where do you want me to go, buddy?
Wonder why the big fan was coming on when it was already cold sometimes.
Because I changed
All
it
makes
to
sense
heat.
now. Yeah.
So we don't freeze, because it is 3 degrees outside right now.
Jesus.
It's not even as cold as it's supposed to
The
get.
tunnels were a maze. The blood trail led me on.
Let's fucking go. What's in here? Shadow. Shadow is in here.
Just shadow.
Just shadow. Can I steal that light? Possibly, but I have to get closer.
Another place to use in the story. I needed to search the tunnels for further visions.
Alan, the fact that you have to visit these places to get any sort of inspiration is wild to me. You can't just think of a tunnel that's collapsed. Buddy.
If you've seen one subway tunnel, you've kind of seen them all.
Right? Okay, select the new scene. A liminal place. one you want me to do. Which scene?
The tunnel? No?
Can't zoom out any further.
Huh.
So let me just... Here? There we go.
Oh, weird.
It was just... I just broke it a little bit. It's okay.
Changed the story. And with that, the dark place changed.
Why would you do this? You've pissed something off. Okay. Alright, Echo?
Come on, Echo. We need you to cooperate.
I understand.
Glad to be on this case. The cult can get you anywhere with that black magic shit. Let the day shift handle it. What happened?
Oh, this is the New York cult thing that they talked about. I understand what's going on.
A satanic
yeah.
blood sacrifice.
Anyone who gets involved with the cult, they're next. I heard their leader is this famous writer, Alan Wake. Their unholy motherfucking messiah.
Sounds like a load of bull.
Oh. Very funny.
The blood trail
Alan,
disappeared under the
the
rubble.
cult leader?
Everybody loves
I had
Alan.
a feeling something was waiting there.
Heck. Okay.
Gives him helpful tips about how to save the battery in the car.
All he found was a fate worse than death.
Good tips. Anything down here? Also, this subway should really look at some just like general infrastructure. You gonna go away? Yeah, you are. Okay, good to know. Alan, what are you doing? There is nothing over here.
There's
an echo.
Yeah. In the middle of the dang thing.
Highlight.
Do we need to be behind the black spot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But where is?
I think it's on the train, but further down?
Okay, so we have to be from the other side.
No, 100%.
Die!
That's just rude.
Another echo lingered here. A source of inspiration.
It was here.
Word is your research can help me, ma'am. What do you know?
There's more than one urban legend about the cult of the word. The murder cult used these tunnels for their
That's the lady from the very start.
They say the cult reenacted
The one who
murders
stole the
of
necklace.
Alan
It was
Wake's
right in the...
The Wake was even involved.
Right in the book about Wake.
Under a false identity. Mr. Scratch. Which is, of course, a nickname for the devil himself.
It's a very silly nickname.
It was disturbing finding myself in the story this way. But I was desperate, and it felt right for the story.
Would we ever win the flashlight off?
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Lamp!
Lamp wood.
I mean...
50% is a lot of percent.
Right? That's also pretty good too, though.
All these are pretty good.
Right?
10% chance to stun is actually just quite a low chance. Do we not have any chance to stun with the torch? I thought we sometimes did stun.
Probably very, very minor chance.
Yeah, maybe just wibbles him a little bit. It's not like a full-on stun.
Yeah. Fuck! He done? Ah! They just show up very quickly, is the thing.
They're coming fast?
Thought we were done. We were not. and then there was a man in my face. I just didn't appreciate it.
We're done.
Hold on.
You hear like crazy when you find words of power now, so we're good on health.
Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else around here? Collapsed tunnel. Oh, that's a container. All the way over there, though. It's fine. We don't need every container. Let's go back to
Most of them don't even contain anything.
Right?
I was making my way deeper into the story. I could imagine this murder cult performing their macabre acts beyond the collapsed tunnel.
Oh, this is very
the cultists
silly.
laid the Casey novel onto the
This is
altar
very
with reverence.
control, this
Their
thing.
twisted Bible.
That manuscript.
I mean, I think he said it was a Casey book?
He writes the Casey books.
Yeah, and now the Casey books are in the Casey story. Because,
That's
you know,
silly.
of course it is. Oh, wait, no, I understand. I understand what I'm doing. Okay.
What are you doing?
We're swapping what the
Oh.
story is. So we've got a missing FBI agent, or we've got the murder cult's hideout.
Can be both.
Cannot be both. Okay. Well, we looked at that. What do you want me to do, buddy? Oops, not that button. Find more signs of cult activity in the tunnels. Okay, I can do that. Probably. We find any more down there? Kind of looks like there might be something down there. Maybe I'm wrong, though.
Don't be crazy, Roz, said Nick. That thing has to die. Never, Nick, yelled Roz, suddenly crazed. He's my betrothed. He was planning to help me escape. He moved me into a different room and gathered up all my necrofied toes for me. Not that you or anyone else witnessed that happening, given that your sense of narrative typically focuses almost entirely on your own exploits in this fictional world you've created. We were all set to flee the place together when the Skeletorian guard burst into our room while we were busy at it and hauled us up here. She's gone insane, said Nick to Capello. She's fallen in love with the very lab-coated skeleton who originally kidnapped her. It's Stockborn syndrome. She's gone, Capello. Completely gone.
My god. Very good.
That was just a random pitch.
Fit,
They're all like that.
Fit very, very neatly with everything that's happening.
There are a lot of skeletons in Gath Marenghi's writing, so, you know, I approve of that.
Perfect. Alright. You want me to find more cult activity? But where would the cult do their activity?
Tunnels. Rooms. Places that Alan Wake goes. Just find new places.
Wait, no, I got that one.
The cult goes wherever Alan saw last. That's how good a writer he is.
What if... No, because that's the...
I couldn't add a new element from here. I'd have to go to the scene.
Yeah, oh, I understand. I understand, Alan. That's fine.
You think we're looking at the murder cult? Because we know from the game that Alex Casey didn't go missing.
Yeah.
They have talked about this case in the past tense. One of the people talking about it was Alex.
Is it Alex Casey that's gone missing, though? Or someone else?
That's fair.
Here's the thing about Alan. He's not particularly clear. He's either way too clear to the point of repetition. Saga did this. Saga went here. Saga said this thing. Saga. Or It's just pronouns everywhere and no specifications as to who they belong to. Right. Okay, nope. I remember what we're doing. There we
The
go.
water was gone.
That'll do.
The way forward was open.
Just a lot to pay attention to. A lot to keep track of. Let me try and get my words out properly. It'll never fucking happen. Reacher?
Hey,
Just breach.
Alan. Tim Breaker. In
Breaker.
case you
Not
don't
none of
remember,
that.
man.
All of that was wrong.
Remembering more now.
It's good to hear, man.
All incorrect.
How's your search for Mr. Door going?
It's not great. This dream we're in, putting a lot of roadblocks in my way.
Can't believe we do that.
So you think this is a dream?
I'm not ruling it out.
I mean, we read his crazy
My
board.
dreams
Oh, he's added more.
have always been
Nice.
incredibly vivid. They feel real until the second I wake up. In the dreams, I'm often someone else. A different person with a different name, living a different life in a different world. It's alternate realities, maybe. But certain things don't change.
Okay.
Like Door.
The sketch you have does look
Gonna
like
need
the
you
door
to
I
put
know.
less breaks in
The talk show host.
what you're saying.
All I know is the Door
Because
has
you keep making it
something to do
sound
with
like
what's
you're
happening
done,
to me.
and then you say more.
Don't let
And
the
he
button
knows
show up again.
that I know. He's like
What if the
some
buttons
sadistic
don't show up?
mastermind torturing.
And he's not finished. It's just pausing.
I guess he's just pausing right now.
We go for a month.
Oh God. Hey, subway map. All right, what do we have now? What is this place? A dream? Feels like it. Excuse me. Not real, no place, every place, all places, any place. Now New York, not New York City. A way to other places? A nexus? Is Door the gatekeeper? Or trying to get out somewhere? Everywhere? Door, gate, portal, port, opening, access, window. There's a lot of words for thresholds. That's all the same.
You should tell him that one. Write that down.
Hey.
Hey, am I right? Do
put-
you want to know more words? For
Put threshold
dog?
on there. No, Alan doesn't know what a thesaurus is.
You either don't know what a thesaurus is, or sometimes it just has a thesaurus open and you can extremely tell when you're reading it.
Because it's 10 sentences that are all 3 words, but all say the exact same thing.
Yeah, but with
Different words.
really fancy words no one's used for 100 years.
Oh, containers. Here. Okay, I see.
Oh, that's a good one.
Could probably actually use one of these just to top off. Gets us fully healed.
Nice.
That's lovely. And then we'll open up this one. I do wish that they didn't put the containers at the very bottom. That has been a consistent thing I've noticed.
Ideally, it'd be somewhere in the middle.
Right.
So I can see it more easily.
And then there should be a word around here, I thought. Or a container. That's cool too. Yeah. What do we got, buddy? Pal, friend.
No, mattress on a pallet.
Yeah, it's
a little bit sad.
like the mattress doesn't even fit on the pallet.
No.
Like at all. Hey, buddy, you could probably just use a single one of those.
Friend, you need to get yourself a blanket.
Right? Poor guy. Okay, maybe it's...
Next time you get wished away to the other world.
Poor man. Maybe it's on the other side. Here somewhere?
I haven't seen any arrows or anything.
Neither have I, but there is that...
Yeah.
That circle. Excuse me?
Oh.
Oh, Alan, we're in the water? Oh, okay, it's fine. It's not that deep. I was concerned.
Deep enough that his shoes will be soaked.
It's true. Gotta pick that up. Alan, are you sure there's no word of power over here? Positive.
Really?
I don't know.
But when you picked it up, the amount of batteries didn't increase, but
Hi, I'm back again. Just here for a little peek. Looking for some words. Don't mind me. Is that what I'm missing? No?
Do you know any words, guy? He knows word of door.
You know word of lamp? Nightlight is another one.
No word of wall.
He's a cop. Of course he does. Okay, yeah, there's nothing in here. Weird.
Yeah, a lot. Well out there.
Okay. You say so. Hello? You need to go away. Thought I heard someone else. Hello? Rude.
Wait.
This is fine.
Yeah. Slam the door in it and hope that we don't realize you're a real guy.
Right? I'm not a fool. We know better. Hold on, buddy. If you could just wait like a few seconds while I do a save.
I remember an awful beacon in the darkness, the scene of a ritualistic murder site in the subway tunnels. It's the previous draft of my writing. Must be.
Take all that. We have so much health.
Yeah. We could put the big med kit in the box.
True.
We have enough space though, right?
Yeah.
Still got like a whole row we're not using.
Yep.
Yeah.
Might put one of these away just because it's a lot. Move. Move.
Oh my god. Yeah.
You need help. Good luck. Thanks, Sign.
I needed help.
The train blocked my way forward,
Please.
but it was here for a reason. It had a role
Why
to
is
play.
Alan who's sending that? And he's not knowing how to write extends to support tickets.
I regret helping him then.
Did you help him? Did you help the I needed help guy?
Pretty sure I did.
I know what I wanted and everything?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was, because, you know, I've done a lot of tickets since then, but... Give me that word of war. Also, is this... No, it's not. Where's this one? This is gonna bother me so much! There's one back there, too.
Okay.
It's fine, it's fine. We don't need every single one of them. Also, that's not where I was trying to go. I was trying to go here. Right. These are all just
Yeah.
And I'm always gonna reload before I like get to the last bullet, unless there's just too many guys. But
it should be double damage on the first upgrade, since it is only the last bullet in the revolver. That's like 17% damage increase if you shoot all of the bullets, something like that.
That's too much math for me to do.
It's not a big amount.
No idea for a scene.
Missing FBI agent. Let's start with that. Alright,
Hello? Anyone there?
Alan, you have to touch the button. Alan, you have to press the button for them to be able to hear you.
He yelled really loud.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Like, the range on those isn't that good. If you just yell loud enough, they'll hear you.
Dang.
The scene had changed.
Alright, it's open now, but I just want to make sure there's nothing else over here, which does not seem that there is.
Spooky.
The cult poured the gasoline over the train car. An iron cage that would soon become a coffin.
But why? What's the point, Alan?
Running track?
Do you like the sound it makes when you reload?
Very crunchy.
Yeah.
Go on, ma'am.
This is where the history of the cult gets genuinely disturbing. The cultists tracked down the torchbearers living in the tunnels. They locked the poor folks up in a derailed subway car, doused it in gasoline. Yeah.
Charming.
It turns into a bit of a ghost story after that. They say the dark smoke from the fire still roams the tunnels searching for new victims.
No.
There are no happy endings in this city.
The story thread felt important. I could use it in one of the scenes I'd found.
Alan, why are you doing this to yourself? Also, Deputy Mulligan tuned Thornton's chatter at— that's like a, I see. Didn't think writers were particularly
That's
useful
amazing.
people. Yeah. Huge manhunt for one stuck him as idiotic. Certainly not worth the missed opportunity for coffee and pie. It wasn't even clear what the man had done except run from them at the trailer park. Mulligan knew he wasn't alone. Sheriff's patient with the Fed was running out.
Also, those paint cans exploded just from being near them.
Yeah. Pretty great.
Where's Alan's power?
Good question. Also, is that one from the very first game?
It might be.
Like they were getting annoyed with Nightingale?
They get really annoyed with Nightingale. They're always telling her, like, is this guy actually an FBI agent?
Right.
And the answer, it turns out, was at that point, no.
Absolutely
Former
not.
FBI agent.
Absolutely not.
A sick and twisted story. But it worked.
Quite like that, how bad Nightingale was at his job is part of the story.
Right? Thinking. There's more stuff over there now.
We can always go back and get stuff.
True.
I'm very happy to go back and get stuff.
We might go back and get stuff, but also there's more things in here. Why? How am I missing so much?
I don't know.
Past here? No, that
It
door
could
is
not
locked.
be opened on this side.
Okay, Alan. I don't need you to narrate everything that we're doing. Was that past that door? Yes. Okay. But probably.
It looked like they were on the door on the other side.
But then there's this, which is not my location. This is my location.
Does that need it to be the other one? The medical? Maybe even the missing.
We haven't been in
You can't
here.
get in here.
Yeah.
With missing FBI agent.
Oh.
There is more stuff.
Are you anything?
Switching the scene from here? Will it be in the wall?
Oh God. Myrtle?
Okay. Never mind. might have pushed you backwards a bit.
Yeah. Which
Would have been cool.
This thread would create something terrible in the scene, but it's what the story needed.
Okay, it's fine.
Yeah, don't know what's going on there.
That made a funny noise. I'm gonna run back real fast because I just wanna see.
Yeah, look at this stuff.
Yeah. Well, it might change the other place that we had, like the missing FBI and cult stuff as well. Now that we've got a new description. Could do. Hello? No, you're not a guy. You're a fake guy.
That's a fake guy.
You're a fake guy.
Fake guy.
You're not even a real guy. Get out of here, fake guy. There. Not really anything over there, huh? Okay. Breaker, what are you hiding from me?
Wait. Okay. Saying.
Do it. I should consider drinking my water more.
Drink your water.
Gotta drink my water. To be fair, I've been swapping between it and my soda is gone now, so it's all oiter. Okay, let's swap this to torchbearers. See what we get in here. Oh boy!
Torchbearers painted the tree there. The tree of knowledge. The tree of life.
Kind of just exploded and happened.
To hell. It could have been a Christmas tree for all the good.
Found a new thing. And there was an echo, and but it immediately happened upon me, like, you know, swapping the scene. But it's fine.
Good.
Yeah. Ooh, where's that?
The drifters had scrawled their symbol on the wall. A secret for those in the know.
Okay. I need to pause real quick so I can use the bathroom. And maybe top off my water too. Bless you. Yeah, I don't have big juice right now, but I got half my glass. Hold on. That's not the right scene. Whoopsie. There we go. Oh no, that's not right either. Whoa! Okay. Yeah, we'll be right back while we refill on stuff, and I might eat a piece of pizza real fast. So, you know. Okay, we're back. We're doing the thing. It's happening.
It's Alan.
It's Alan. Pizza has and is being devoured. We found Big Tree. A pizza. Hey, Domino's kind of slaps. This is bothering me so much. And we are gonna run all the way back there.
We could make a pizza.
The way. We could make a pizza. We need to buy some stuff for the pizza. We could make a pizza. That could be a thing that we do.
Could be a thing we do. We'll just eat pizza forever, like real adults.
Okay, but honestly, I would eat pizza always, forever. You can put so many different things on a pizza. The combinations are endless. Are you fake man? You're fake mens. God, there's a lot of you here, though.
Yeah, it's not good.
Going away. I like that I don't have to, like... That is a dead end. Okay. Oh, we're stomping again. Haven't done that for the last 2.5 hours.
I need a stomp break.
I need a stomp break. Here's the thing. I need the stomp break. Oh, we can try the different things here too. But first, I wish Alan ran a little faster. Just a little.
It was locked from the other side.
Alan, where? There.
Where'd it go? I don't really see enough of it.
Here?
Go through the window because someone's in the door?
Oh, I heard the sound.
Game, come on.
Maybe that was just Alan's feet, actually.
We go further left. Less
Yeah.
further than that. No. That's about where I just thought. Why is it like? Come on, Trey. Maybe we do need her on the door to be able to see enough.
Maybe. Alright, well that's fine, because we can do that. Let's... take that off?
Things clicked into place. The story rang true. I was making progress.
Oh, never mind, it just works now.
Okay, that's fine. Oh. Okay. We'll just keep focusing on this one, because that's what we've got. We got a revolver right now. Put the...
One day we'll have another gun.
One day. Day is not that day.
This thread fit the scene.
Actually, hold on. Get rid of that. For me real fast. That's still locked. Okay. I figured, but worth it. Worth a try. Okay.
Seems like they're still locked unless, like, the door is only there in some worlds or, like, it gets knocked down in one of them.
Yeah. Still, wanna try.
It's worth check.
That doesn't hang here. Is it you? It is you.
It's been nice in that, like, you can tell, like, so far you've been able to tell at a glance if the status of the door had changed at all.
Absolutely. That one's gonna bother me so much.
There's just nothing in there with the guy.
Horrible. Can't believe you would do this.
Maybe it's on, like, the bottom one of his shoes.
I'd scream. I would not be happy about that.
You eat the word of power.
God, monster.
Maybe it is a word of door, and you just have to look at the whiteboard from the right angle.
Maybe.
You get even bigger, like, elbow strikes whenever you approach a door.
Can you imagine?
Just knocks it right off its hinges.
This was... What's here? A locked door.
So cute.
I don't want to go too far in. It will just turn me around.
Yeah.
The city was not real. I was limited to the confines of the dream.
Well, yeah, no shit, Alan.
It's very inconvenient for it to put stuff this close to the edge.
Right?
You are in the cube. Oh. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, we found that.
Yeah.
You got a flashbang.
Oh, did I? Oh. Nice.
The enemies are very weak to light, so in Alan Wake 1, the flashbang is basically the best weapon you can get. Flashbang or the flare gun.
Yeah.
And the flashbang has a bigger radius, but the flare gun's just more convenient.
You can aim it. You can aim that bad boy. Okay, that's locked. Can't get in. You have to over here. Understood. Excited to see how flashbang hold up.
And flare gun, honestly.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of upgrades that want the flare gun now, and it's like, you having one of those out soon? Or?
So, when's that happening?
Yeah.
No rush, just curious.
Consider, gimme.
We're in the torchbearers at the moment. I thought that was a person just standing there, casually hanging out. We don't want to go into the collapse tunnel. We've already been in there. We want to go through here, off towards where Breaker is. Room again? Very frustrating to me that I can't see the thing. Find Alice.
What type of wall is it he wants?
It's this general area.
Like the bedroom? Because that's... We have thoroughly examined
Right?
that.
But yeah, it's
Yeah. Ugh. So left in a stupid pallet bed.
Yeah. Oh god. Oh god, hold on.
Is it under the stairs when you come up? Oh no. Oh jeez. That's some Alan gummies.
Fuck, it turns when I try to do anything.
I saw it though.
Yeah.
They were pretty.
But I want to look at
There
them
are a couple of seconds there.
more.
I should really see them.
Look at them more. Ha. Don't be shy. Show me your gummies.
Teeth and eyeballs.
You pop your teeth. I tried to like glance under here when we were coming up. There's just a shadow, man.
Alright.
It's a guy. And then the only other place that it could be that's on the same wall is over here. But
yeah, nothing there, and there's not even arrows. Like we're not even getting close enough that there's arrows.
Yeah, so it's a little rude, if you ask me.
That's rude.
I'm hoping that if like we can come back at some point and have access to that back way or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
In like centered on the room, it's like mostly off the map.
Yeah.
There might be something else over there.
Not a bad.
Why is it weird?
Yeah, that's the blocked off passage. That little section right there. All of this is inaccessible for the time being.
Yeah.
So it might be on like a lower level, possibly.
Us. Just loop around and get past the blockade.
Yeah. We'll see. Definitely not on this side. We have checked that.
We've been thorough.
2 of those. Jesus. At least they stack.
I'm very glad they're stacked.
Right? Let's go up.
Well, it's not had like a lot of fighting to do.
Not yet.
Very easy to take a cheap hit off those guys though when they wash in.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta be
They're
ready with the
rude.
dodge button.
They're so rude. Just making sure that there's nothing else I need to look at before we go through. There's that, but we couldn't figure out what that is. What does the square denote?
I think a box.
Oh god.
Oh jeez.
Still look for a box for it. Looks like a second more.
Take a breather from that.
Inky. It's not torchbearers. No box.
I was sure I had the answer on the plot board.
Okay, listen, Alan. I know that some people might be a little lost and not know what's going on. That's fine. But that's not me. I am looking for secrets at the moment.
Just looking for treasure, Alan.
The plot changes.
Oh, there's a
shape
bug.
the world around me.
How did we get here? You have to just run through quick before it changes? Is that actually what you do?
It seems like.
Oh, they don't stack 3.
I mean, considering that they're full heals,
yeah,
I'm not too mad about it, but that doesn't mean I need to, like, drop some shit off, because...
Should probably drop one of those off.
Yeah. We want torchbearers. Please push me out and don't get me stuck in a wall.
Nice.
Okay, cool. Wonderful.
Well, it's like in the middle. Lovely.
That's good, because I was concerned. Where is... Oh, it's okay. Let's just do it real quick. Because if I don't do it now... Oh, it's just right here. That's fine. I just have to go up and down a ladder.
Yeah, I don't want to die in. Have to do that again.
Well, it's like if I don't put it away now, then we'll find a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't fit in our inventory. But now that we've put it away, we'll find a reasonable amount of things. But we won't have a full inventory.
Well, yeah, we'd only find extra things if we couldn't possibly carry them.
Absolutely.
That's just science.
That's how it works. I know video games. Ooh boy.
Yeah, it's nice being here.
Horrible cult. Can't believe the things that they would do. Frames are getting a little choppy. I'll stop wiggling the camera nearly as much. Sorry, Alan. I didn't mean to upset you.
There's been some little choppy.
It's held up pretty well so far.
That's loud.
Oh boy! It's fine. It's over. We're free now. We're free from the screams.
Okay.
We're behind the locked door now.
We have been,
I had to unlock the door. Oh wait, that's the locked door that goes into this room. Yeah. Okay.
Almost like doesn't know this side.
The oil derrick, the wheel had been jammed in the place and turned until the oil gurgled and flowed, thick and flammable. This is
Might be a
That's
American
a-
Nightmare.
yeah.
Yeah, it's an American Nightmare. The
Warning
satellite fault that crashes is how.
Yeah. Horrible. What's this one? Just stepped outside to catch a breath of fresh air, and let me tell you, the weather is getting heavy.
That's the Radio Man.
Oh yeah! Nights like this make me especially glad I'm here talking to you and not home in bed.
I was sure the plot board had the pieces I needed.
Shut the fuck up, Alan.
Alan, I know that, like, verbal cues and hints are important in video games, but I am looking around.
Yeah, we were on the other side of the locked door, Alan. We've already done that bit.
We've done the thing that you're trying to tell me to do. Don't worry, bud. We figured it out. Do I... Whoop. No, because we're not in a place where I can change things. So...
What doing? Oh, I'll do it.
Right.
See, I'm a man of action, Kish. That's why I found that word of action.
You're here for the action therapy.
Talk therapy, though. Time for action therapy. We should find that one on a random page.
Let me do these just to get rid of all the new notifications. I'm always scared to do stuff like that, though, because it's like, well, I don't want to, especially in a game where, like, it's hard to come across ammo. It's like, well, what if it doesn't actually do it?
Yeah, that is the amount of, like, telling that that's what I do to waste a bullet on that. That many arrows pointing at that one board.
Yeah.
That's a different color from everything else.
Yeah.
Like, one less arrow and I'd never even waste the bullet.
Whoa! Hey! Fuck off! I'm opening my locker, you rude person. Anyone else? Come on!
Oh, gee.
Sir, you are too beefy. Okay, anyone else? Anyone else? Can I not pick up the thing that's in there because there's no thing in there? Great, wonderful, love that. There's a word over there. Of course there is.
Probably examine now everything's dead.
True.
Didn't need those. We had loads of pistol bullets earlier, but we kind of got through them.
Yeah. There's not, but it wasn't there. It's fine. It's fine. Word of thing. I mean, more health.
Yeah.
And then we'll start worrying about the safe haven ones.
Yeah, I think 50% every time you find a word of power is enough.
Right? I think we're doing okay. Alright. Double checking. Alright.
We might be going around under that bit from earlier, so...
That would be delightful.
Yeah.
My path was blocked. I had to find a way through. The lights would help me.
We'll keep that. That can go away. And just for now. We've got 2 flashbangs and 2 hand flares. I think we're doing okay on things.
We haven't been in a fight, like, serious enough that it seemed to warrant the flares, really.
Yeah.
So
Also, we have so many batteries.
it's good.
I mean, it's great. It's just, where were these for Saga?
In Alan's pocket.
Greedy bastard.
Alan had already in all of the batteries.
Alan, how are we doing this, bud? These are gonna take me a minute to figure out, but we will get there eventually. Hello? Oh, my headphones are getting and wiggly.
Oh, geez.
They might be calling soon. We'll see.
I should look at the plot board to figure out a way forward.
Alan, I don't think the plot board is going to help us in this particular situation. Just generally speaking. See? That scared me. Where?
Shrine Street Station.
Night Springs Avenue.
Oh.
It is your story, so. Sort of gun.
He just whooshed at you.
I don't know if he whooshed or if he just got really close. But.
Let's not be whooshing. Okay, well, he'd have probably attacked you
Yeah.
if you were a real guy. Guess that doesn't pause, right?
Yep. Hold on. Before we press on, what do we do? Getting over there would be nice, but I don't think we can do that from here. That's just a dead end. I think we can get here.
Oh, like treasure.
Yeah. I can't see what's happening. Can you not, sir? Oh, we're getting close to people again. I see.
That's what was going on.
Shit. Yeah, if you're close enough,
yeah,
it'll just automatically melee, and it's not great.
It's not great, and the melee from further than you'd think.
Yep.
And you don't necessarily want to throw yourself at the enemies, even if it's like if the melee is guaranteed to hit or whatever. But like, what if he has like a bunch of friends?
Right?
Who I also don't want to be near.
Yeah, that was my main issue with it when Saga was doing it. It's just like because I'm not anticipating it, because I'm not wanting to do it. It can make it a little difficult.
It's a long animation and it takes you out of control of your character for a bit.
Yeah. And it zooms in so close too.
Yeah.
Can't see what's happening.
Probably should have like a dedicated button.
Wonderful. I would love that. Hold on. Hold that. Don't know. I don't think it'll really change anything other than just giving me a charge. That's fine. How do I get over there though?
Never gonna stop.
That's blocked off.
Yeah, if you go around enough boxes.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe we just can't get over there right now. Yes and no.
We'll get over there. Might need to go further down the other way.
Yeah. Alright. Does look like it loops back to the start
I should look
of
at the plot board. Keep the story moving.
Alan Dog, we've looked to the plot board.
In the nuts, my guy. Alan, you have to stop. Neither of you are real.
Yeah. It's a cool system. You don't have to like wiggle it around and look at them for a second.
The echoing hall had a story to tell.
Like, if there's lots of them, you don't really want to be spending that long near them.
Right? It's fine. taking me back to where we were. Oh. It's fine. We'll get there when we get there. Container? There's nothing in you. I think this should be illegal. It says that there's a thing in there. I don't think any of those should be empty, though.
No, it's over.
If you can't let me, if you won't let me open every single locker, then I don't think the ones that I can open should be empty. That's just...
That makes sense.
That's just what I think. Hold on.
We can go up the other side.
Okay. No, because it led back to where we started.
I had a new location for the story.
We can wiggle some things around.
The hole had changed into the murder cult's hideout. The cultists were close now.
Over
A dark presence rising from the depths.
Rider, not of the last, the shadow cast, third eye. Project the night. This is your time. When you're gone. You're very silly. They're all just very silly. These are silly cultists.
It's one of those silly cults. It's absolutely a silly cult.
It's a silly cult. It's a cult dedicated to Alan and his Alex Casey books. They're very silly. Also, I see that. I see those.
The Fed had witnessed something here that made him run scared. Whether the summoning ritual had been a bona fide supernatural event or the mass psychosis of stark raving lunatics, it didn't change the facts. The cult was messing with things no one should mess with.
The ritual was a vital part of the story, the key to reaching the murder site.
Huh? No?
No?
You know what? That's okay. We have 10 million batteries, so I don't feel bad about using that.
Would carry me deeper into the story.
Oh, a summoning ritual now. Okay. It's like the missing FBI agent.
Oh.
Oh!
Oh.
Why'd you put your flashlight away? Doesn't seem great.
I think we might have found the missing bits of the missing FBI agent.
We found portions of it. Anything that we can interact with here? Hello? You're a fake man.
It's very rude of it to spawn two fake men and have them walk towards you.
Menacingly.
Yeah. I think we haven't done torchbearers?
Yeah, torchbearers and summoning ritual.
I assume summoning ritual's right, though.
Yeah. You just want to look at all of them.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Sorry, I didn't realize. I didn't know. Forgot which one you'd done first.
No, I was just looking, thinking, contemplating even. I think it tells you which ones you've done though, based on like if it has the little thing under it.
Oh. No.
We haven't done this one yet, so it comes up from the bottom. Excuse me? A lot of growling happening.
Yeah.
Okay. You want me to... Anything? No? Okay. Cool. Nice hanging out. I'm gonna go now.
When he wibbled like that, it just really gave the game away.
You actually have iframes now when you dodge, so that's exciting.
Nice. Did Lady knock down?
She did, yeah.
All right. It's just it You were weird in the first one. It had to play the cutscene feature.
I also hadn't, like, I wasn't really able to, like, fully confirm with her either, if that was the case, just because there weren't too many times that I had to dodge, and the times that I was able to, like, actually use it was for the boss fight, and I just dodged badly during that. This is fine. It's nice in here, actually. You wanna pick that up, Alan? Instead of faking me out and doing the animation like you're picking it up. Hello? Okay. Well, I'm gonna steal this light again. Stop asking for him.
Why do so many people want to see Alan Wake? This is my immersion room. Oh! I thought you'd already done that guy. That hurt.
Yeah, it did.
You're a strong guy.
Just trying to make sure there's no one else around me. Oh, let's pop that back open and heal up just a little bit.
Oh yeah, get a little bit free.
Just a little bit. These heal up a lot now, actually.
Yeah, they're not bad.
We'll just keep eating those.
Eating the smile. The M&M's.
Delicious. Let's just come back out here and take our light with us. And, hopefully not get punched in the mouth again.
Really sucked you.
He did? Rude. Also...
It's getting really close and it's hard to get him away.
Yeah.
I had to figure this out on the plot board.
Alan, I'm gonna need you to stop telling me about the plot board.
The plot board of listening to you, Alan.
What? Don't spread the word. The third eye. Go. Word of action.
Dang, this projectile isn't gonna do nothing.
Exactly. Just gotta make sure they're not a problem before they're even a problem. Neutralize that.
It's possible that they're just not that bad an enemy in this one, but none of the other upgrades are like huge.
Yeah. We'll get them eventually, but
Yeah.
not stressing about them. Yeah, it's just not loading in things every so often. So we might just need to be a little more careful around. Yeah, you are. That's just the echo. Okay. Anything in here for looting? I didn't think it would, but that's
only one. Turns out the cultists weren't the only ones using the tunnels. Hidden graffiti signs marked secret routes. I kept hearing whispers around burn barrels of an underground society of mystic outsiders with hidden knowledge. Typical New York.
Very unclear.
yeah, it was good. It was fine. But I hadn't checked in a while,
Yeah.
so figured it was about time to look.
Keeping an eye on voice mod because we don't trust it.
Rude. Oh, you were zooming.
Everyone's consuming.
This is horrible, and I don't want to be here anymore.
Can we all just leave? Just passing through.
Okay, someone is angry. Who else? Anyone else? Anyone else?
Alan. They're already dead, it's fine.
All y'all? We all good? All done?
All done.
All done. All done. Okay, I can leave now. Get me out of here. Get me out of this bad place.
Okay, there's a silly baby voice. That's daycare moves. You're using daycare moves.
Listen, they work. What?
Go a little bit. Come on. Looking right at it, Alan. Is it like work for... Or is it just the lights on the other side?
No, it's making the noise like it's working.
Yeah. Over.
Fuck off! I think the shadow was getting in the way.
Horrible.
Awful. I mean, we'll just finish that.
Yeah. All that.
Alright. You... Is that where you want me to go? Oh.
Took a minute.
It was thinking real hard about
right
that.
back.
Yeah, so what the fuck is this one? Oh my god. Gee. That's where it wants me to go, so let's come in here real quick. Move that here.
So many of those.
Yeah. I'm not mad about having too much health. I'm cool with that.
Too much health.
This is fine, actually.
Gonna explode.
Never explode.
Gonna explode around too much health.
Understood what I had to do now. I knew how to write the ending to departure. There is light and there is darkness. It's not a lake, it's an ocean. I like that all the signs are manuscripts. Go away.
They are things from previous Alan Wake experiences.
Just fun. Because if you're not paying attention, you just run past. You're like, yep, that's a sign.
Yeah.
Oh boy, sure is sign out.
Or is this something about wearing hard hats or whatever? Doesn't say something about wearing hard hats.
I need you to find the answer on the plot board.
Okay, Alan, chill.
Alan, I'm going to scream.
You have to give me a minute to just wander around. I'll look at your stupid plot board, but here's the thing. I need a minute to loot. The only one that's available there is the missing FBI agent. I can do the summoning ritual at the collapsed tunnel and at the derailed train. Okay.
We've got summon everywhere.
Yeah. I think we're closest to the collapsed tunnel at the moment. Yeah. There's a lot of looping back in this place, huh? Probably didn't need to go do half the things that I did earlier. But, you know, it's fine. That's collapsed tunnel. Probably finish the subway and then call it there. Because it's almost been 4 hours. Whoopsies. Hey, this game? Kinda good. Oh, fuck. Oh!
Oh, jeez.
Okay.
This is fine.
Alan, stop looking behind you. You're gonna go slower if you keep looking behind you. Oh. Oh. Oh.
F.
Gotta get into your safe house. Can't get you here. Get out of here, guy.
couldn't
saying?
hear the dark presence.
Well, I mean, I could
was
still hear it when you started saying that. So, Alan, I don't know that I trust you.
He's not got great hearing. He's not great at anything. He doesn't really have a skill.
No. Oh, wow, it's just sort of like cleared out this whole section, huh? Thanks, Dark Presence.
Huh.
A little more
The tunnel
straightforward
was
now.
open now.
Fuck. Alan, you have to run faster. You have to run faster? You're not showing the level of hustle that I would expect from someone in this situation.
Funny that the tornado of darkness was just like waiting right outside the door.
Right? You had, in fact, not given it the slip.
The dark presence.
Give him the slip?
I'd seen it before.
How exactly?
I remembered now. It was always out there. Hunting me.
Always out there. Not that many sections with it.
So where am I? Oh, just out there. Maybe we'll go under the section where that word is circled. Go down. Great. Love that. Oops. I was trying to uncrouch. Forgetting that there is no crouch button. He just does that automatically. It's just a thing they do for you. You gonna see another ding dong?
Oh no. Oh no.
Got another doink over here.
I had found the murder site.
Might be the same doink.
Somehow
The same
victim's
doink.
heart was the key.
Just
Get the camera. Oh, I
sorry.
saw it.
I'm sorry.
I saw a little
I'm sorry.
Sorry,
oh god, I
Twitch.
have to look at it from over here. Oh. Don't mind that.
Something had shifted.
I'm curious how they censor that. I forgot to turn that on this time because I didn't think it was gonna be didn't think we were gonna see any more doinks.
Please put pants on, Buttman.
Who are you?
You know what's going on here.
Who are you?
She can hear me.
I'm Saga Anderson, FBI.
This is Alan Wake. I'm trapped here. The dark place. Under Cauldron Lake.
Cauldron Lake. Who are you?
I'm trying to escape. I'm making progress.
Do you remember him saying
I'm
he's
in
trying to
danger.
escape? Can hear a lot of what he's saying though.
No.
Help me.
Very cut off.
Help me.
Similar to how it is for Saga right now.
I could sense it. I was closer to home. Had the woman in the vision helped me somehow? Something had changed. Outside. Parliament Tower. Where I'd lived with Alice.
Oh, jeez.
It was out there. Waiting for me.
You think the Alan that we have in our world now, in Saga's world, I guess I should say. Oh god. Is actually fake Alan.
Do know there's a guy who looks exactly like Alan running around.
Maybe a fake Alan out there.
Who was writing who? Who was writing this poem?
Word, not the writer of the last,
Me?
of the terror of the light, and the shadows cast, the third eye now open to project the night. This is the moment to write! Alright, get out of here with your silly prose. Let's get out of here. We'll save, and then... No, just save, but also...
I'd felt it.
Yeah, but
hanging in
some
the
stuff
air.
happened.
Yeah.
Meaning, the violent emotion of the act, like a cloud of wrath. The dead eyes of the victim staring at something you couldn't see, and yet making you aware of it. Something that soaked into this place on a molecular level,
Okay.
overlapping with your meaningless existence. Regression to something you had managed to forget. Marking you, taking you for a ride, making you crazier.
It's So silly.
It's a dang tiny mind.
Good. When
you like Alex Casey, you got the same name as the detective from the Alan Wake story. And also you're the same, you look identical to the actor who plays him in the movie.
Weird.
And you have the same voice. So.
Strange how that's happened. Okay, that just leads back. So we don't know how to get the thing down there.
No,
That's
we're gonna be
The station had
horrible.
changed. I was closer now.
One leg go away.
Take that. And we're gonna leave. I get 3 charges now.
Oh,
that's exciting.
Yeah.
Alright.
Parliament Tower.
Whoa! Hey, Alan.
That was almost a problem.
Going up to our apartment?
It's fine.
Would I be home?
I'm scared.
Or was this just an echo
Kinda,
of the real
he
thing?
stumbled, is what happened. He definitely didn't go through the wall.
Okay.
He just tripped a little bit on the last step. He thought there were one less step.
Oh, jeez. Right, let's get up to where Breaker is. Or that general area, because there's a save spot there. Also, I want to see if Breaker has anything new. I don't think he does, but
it could have.
Worth a look. Curious to know what this guy thinks.
See how his conspiracy thought comes out.
Yeah.
He's getting a little cafe. It might be like a memory leak.
I mean, to be fair, for 4 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's acceptable.
It's a very reasonable amount of time for it to go without. We'd only kind of minus it. Some of them are tough. Just want to go to see the man.
Just want to see my good friend Breaker, which, have I run past him? Yeah, I have.
Sleep on a mattress on some pallets.
Sad man. He's up there. Okay.
Sleep on a camp bed on the floor like me.
That's whatever. Nah, nothing new. Alright, well, at least he's still there. That's nice.
Yeah.
Alright. Just, don't really need to manage anything here, huh? Let's, do a big ol' save. Oh god, I've played for 6.5 hours already.
It's really good.
It's a really good game.
It's a really good game.
Kinda here for it. But yeah, it's definitely time for a break. And to not be at the computer anymore.
Oh,
Sam is streaming. I gotta go say hi to Sam. Sam's been streaming like all day.
Dang.
Well, that's great, because we can go say hi to Sam.
I don't need to stand now, so I can drop up. Oh.
It's true.
Unless that makes the stream go boo-doo-doo.
It shouldn't, because I'm in streamer mode.
Nice.
I
already did it, so if it didn't by now, it's not gonna.
Nothing happened. We're fine. But yeah, we're gonna go say hi to Sam Killjoy, who's doing some Baldur's Gate. Looks like they're doing the bad run. I've made a terrible mistake run. Yeah, we'll planning on streaming tomorrow for Silent Hill recap. We'll see if that happens. And then we'll.
Should we like draw little pictures and put them on the cockpit?
I could do.
We don't have to. Well, we could do.
Could do.
It might be fun.
I'd have to figure out how to get the camera to capture it. But
that's true.
It
would
could
be a problem.
But we can mess around with that and see if that can happen. If not, we got MS Paint, which is just as good. If you
Just
ask
as good.
me.
Basically the same thing.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna do that, and then I'll announce in Discord on Tuesday whether Ascension is happening on Twitch or in Discord. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Until then, thanks for hanging out. Thanks everyone for the raids. We really appreciate it. We'll see y'all next time, I guess.
Bye, gang.
Bye.